Hello, dear students. I welcome you all to the Cadets Prime Defense Academy's online platform. We are really sorry for getting delayed with our exam analysis because there were some technical issues we were facing. So now we have fixed. We have already fixed the issues and all. We are here with the English paper discussion in the very beginning. So paper is over now, so you must be happy. And when we talk about the English section was okay, right? It was moderate. So उम्मीद करते हैं कि questions भी काफी attempt करे होंगे हमारे students ने, and you must have done with accuracy, right? So around 50, 60 questions were quite easy. You can put that in the easy section, right? In the English section, you can put in the easy part questions. So you must have attempted it well. And तो आज हम थोड़ा सा discussion detail में शुरू करते हैं. First we'll do the English section, then we'll come to the GK, जहाँ पे काफी ambiguity है questions में. Students were kept on calling and asking. तो आज शुरू करते हैं. Let's start with the English discussion first, right? So as we already late. Now coming back to the English section, बस थोड़ा सा marking scheme की बात कर लेते हैं. There were total 20 questions, 120 questions, as we all know. So total questions were 120, and total marks 100, right? As you all know, for one correct answer, if you mark one correct answer, there would be 0.83 marks will be approximately awarded to you. अगर एक हर इनकरेक्ट आंसर के लिए there would be negative marking of 0.27 marks, which you are pretty much aware, right? It's on the similar line, the same thing. लेकिन हम चूंकि एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं तो ऑब्वियसली हम थोड़ी सी कट ऑफ वगैरह की भी बात करेंगे. और पहले हमने प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर्स की जो कट ऑफ है वो भी हमने काफी हद तक एनालाइज किया है. तो हमें पता है, राइट, कि किस सेक्शन में हमें कितना मार्क्स एम करना है. अकॉर्डिंगली बहुत स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे भी हैं जिनकी इंग्लिश सेक्शन की प्रिपरेशन ठीक ठाक होती है, तो वो एनहांस करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हम मैक्सिमाइज करें इंग्लिश सेक्शन वाले में मार्क्स. कुछ स्टूडेंट्स की कोशिश होती है कि मैथ सेक्शन में हम मैक्सिमाइज करें मार्क्स. और जीके इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक quite same for everybody, right? So on that note, the English section बहुतों के लिए ये प्रायोरिटी होता है कि ऑब्वियसली इट्स फर्स्ट पेपर, पहला पेपर है, तो इसमें हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा मार्क्स अटेन करें, राइट? सो लेट्स बिगिन विद दैट नाउ. लेट्स बिगिन विद द डिटेल डिस्कशन. Just a sec. I'll start with that. Now, so when it comes to English section, क्वेश्चंस ज्यादातर पिछले वाले पेपर, जो पिछला पेपर था हमारा सीडीएस वन का, उसके ही लाइन पे है. There was not much difference. There were the reading comprehension passages, two passages, 10 questions. तो इस वाले पेपर में भी ऐसा ही है, right? There were 10 questions, two passages, moderate passages. If you read it properly, जैसा कि हमने मैराथन में भी किया था, काफी डिस्कशन किया था हमने elaborate कि पैसेजेस वाले क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करने हैंडल करने के लिए हमें किन बातों पे ध्यान देना है. सो हाउ टू रीड, दैट वाज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट, राइट? किस तरह से पढ़ना है. तो ट्रांजिशनल वर्ड्स पे ध्यान देते हुए हमें पढ़ना है, जिससे कि हमें जस्ट और कॉन्टेक्स्ट उसका प्रॉपर तरीके से समझ में आए, किस तरह से पैसेज फ्लो कर रहा है आगे, राइट? हाउ द पैसेज प्रोग्रेसेस फर्दर. So if we are able to put little emphasis on the keywords or transitional words, so we are able to get the gist of it, the context of the passage, and we'll be able to answer the questions. And question types we have to be familiar with. That's all, right? तो अगर हम इतना प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं तो ऑब्वियसली मुझे जहां तक लगता है स्टूडेंट्स काफी तैयार रहे होंगे, तो रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन आसानी से हैंडल हो गया होगा विद एक्यूरेसी. The very new thing which was there in this time CDS 2 2020 paper, that was closed test, closed composition questions. Number of questions was new, right? 20 questions. Number of questions means 20 क्वेश्चन इस सेक्शन से, जो कि औरों से ऑड है. हर सेक्शन के 10 क्वेश्चंस आए थे, लेकिन क्लोज कॉम्पोजिशन के 20 क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए. ये थोड़ा चेंज था, ऐसा पिछले वाले पेपर में नहीं था. सो दैट यू कैन टेक एज अ चेंज एनीवे, राइट? बिकॉज थोड़ा बहुत चेंज होता भी रहता है पेपर में. वी आर प्रीटी मच अवेयर, और हम भी तुम्हें क्लास में बताते रहते हैं स्टूडेंट्स को कि सी यू बी रेडी विद सम स्लाइट चेंजेस हियर एंड देयर. So this was the change in this time's paper, right? The next fill in the blanks fillers questions, which last year भी था, तो कोई नया नहीं है इसमें. There were 10 questions. See, वैसे overall paper was moderate, as I said, right? But the ordering of the sentences and all, there were some difficult questions, right? So कुछ sections में difficulties थी. Otherwise paper was moderate and it was doable. तो उम्मीद हम ये कर रहे हैं कि हमारे स्टूडेंट्स ने अच्छे अटेम्प्ट्स करे होंगे. आज हम डिस्कस करते करते अभी you'll realize कि, and you can even check accordingly, right? कि कितना अटेम्प्ट हुआ है, किस तरह की एक्यूरेसी है. नाउ स्पॉटिंग द एरर सेक्शन की अगर हम बात करें, इट्स अ प्रीटी रेगुलर सेक्शन. आता ही रहता है, एरर्स के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. देयर वर 10 क्वेश्चंस, easy ones, not difficult, right? Ordering of words, moderate type questions, not easy but yes, moderate. Ordering the sentences, yes, we have been speaking to our students, so students have been saying, sir, the questions were difficult. What the students are giving the feedback. So हमने इसे मार्क किया है moderate to difficult. That's what we believe. क्योंकि कुछ क्वेश्चंस इसमें काफी सच में ट्रिकी थे ऑर्डरिंग द सेंटेंसेस में, तो अगर उसमें कुछ गलतियां हुई भी हैं स्टूडेंट्स से तो दैट्स प्रीटी मच ऑब्वियस, राइट? क्योंकि अगर बहुत अच्छे से तैयार नहीं है स्टूडेंट्स, इसमें गलतियां करने के चांसेस हैं. देयर आर सम ट्रिकियर थिंग्स. पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच इजी क्वेश्चंस अगेन यू मस्ट हैव डन इट, क्योंकि हम खूब क्लास में डिस्कस करते हैं एंड यू प्रीटी मच फेमिलियर विद द करेक्ट यूसेज थिंग्स एंड इवन द आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ द पार्ट्स ऑफ द सेंटेंसेस एंड पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच. सो यू प्रीटी मच फेमिलियर एंड इजी क्वेश्चंस थे, आसानी से किया होगा. उम्मीद करता हूं मैं सारे सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने इसको अटेम्प्ट भी किया होगा और वो भी एक्यूरेसी के साथ. आसान क्वेश्चन थे. Now, spelling mistakes questions, right? This on the similar line. होते आते ही रहते हैं questions, और ये भी okay थे. ये भी questions okay थे, so you must have attempted it properly. Antonyms, synonyms were moderate. जैसा कि आते ही रहते हैं, so there were moderate questions from this section 10-10. So if you prepared, you must have done it. Idioms के साथ भी ऐसे ही है. ये सारे के सारे questions बिल्कुल ऑन द सिमिलर लाइन, जिस तरह से पहले के पेपर्स में रहा है क्वेश्चन, वैसे ये भी थे, इसमें कुछ नया नहीं था. हाँ, डिफिकल्टी लेवल अप एंड डाउन थोड़ा बहुत है, अदरवाइज इट्स मॉडरेट एनीवे. अगर हम उन्हीं सबको एक साथ रख दें, तो जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के जो क्वेश्चंस थे दे वर मॉडरेट इन नेचर, द पैसेज वाज मॉडरेट एंड डूएबल प्रीटी मच. Close tests and competition, this was new, but again, it's moderate questions were there, not very easy, but not moderate. Fill in the blanks again, they were the moderate. The difficulty level was moderate, okay type. Ordering the sentences, see, this again I said, have marked this moderate to difficult. uh, After speaking to many of our students, this is what the feedback we have got, and even the questions which you have seen, um, there are obviously some questions are trickier, right? So ordering the words, easy, you can do it. Spotting the errors again, easy, right? Parts of speech, easy, because we have been doing anyway in the class, the students know that. Now, so these three sections, though it's regular sections जो कि हमेशा आते रहते हैं, it's pretty regular, so you're pretty much familiar, but yes, there were the moderate questions. Spelling error, spelling mistakes questions were the easy ones, you can identify that easily. So see, हम difficulty level analysis के बाद we can come to this conclusion that there were questions around 50 to 60 questions which were pretty much doable in one go without much of thought. These all questions easy, ये आसानी से attempt हो सकते हैं 30, and even this one, right? The spelling mistakes of 40 questions were quite easy सारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जिन्होंने भी इंग्लिश की थोड़ी सी प्रिपरेशन करी है, और बाकियों में से 10-20 तो आसानी से यू कैन डू, राइट? सो द प्रॉपर अटेम्प्ट इज अराउंड 90 to 100, जो हम मान के चल रहे हैं गुड अटेम्प्ट. जो भी स्टूडेंट्स थोड़ी सी सीरियस प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, दे मस्ट हैव अटेम्प्टेड अराउंड 90 to 100 क्वेश्चंस. दैट मच वाज अटेम्प्टेबल with quite good accuracy, and you'll definitely get a good marks, right? That's what we expecting from our students, right? क्योंकि जिस ढंग की प्रिपरेशन तुम करते हो और जिस ढंग का पेपर है, इन दोनों बातों को ध्यान में रखते हैं हम ये बात कर सकते हैं कि around 90 to 100 attempt is a good attempt. You must have attempted this some questions. Most of the students who are prepared, I'm saying, see, अब preparation पे भी depend करता है कि किस तरह से सारे sections की preparation है हमारी. अगर अच्छी preparation है तो this is not no much, you can do it. Moderate preparation is accordingly you can adjust. बहुत अच्छी preparation, obviously you go beyond that, right? That's how it is. That's what we expecting. Now, anyway, next. So we have taken the set A. Let me tell you that, right? Set A which we have got from our students. इस वजह से passages beginning में है, right? तो आ जाओ हम passages के questions पहले कर लेते हैं फिर beginning में होने का. The same thing again, comprehension के passages का जो हमारा ये तुम्हारा इंस्ट्रक्शन है, you know that in this section you have short passages. After each passage you will find some items based on the passage and read the passages and answer the items based on them. You are required to select your answers based on the content of the passage and opinion of the author only, right? That's the instruction. Passage जैसा कि हम बात कर रहे होते हैं, you have to read it and keep in mind the transitional words on all that. इसलिए हमने इसमें भी थोड़ा सा transitional words mark करने की कोशिश की है, which gives you a better grip on the passage while reading. जो कि हम बहुत बात करते रहते हैं, वैसे भी रीड करते समय ट्रांजिशनल वर्ड्स पे ध्यान दो एंड यू विल गेट द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द पैसेज, आसानी से आंसर हो जाएंगे. ऐसा ही है, ऐसा हमने करा है इसमें. सो पोस्ट कॉलोनियल एनालिसिस. पोस्ट कॉलोनियल, पोस्ट का मतलब पता ही है, लेटर, आफ्टर, यू नो दैट. पोस्ट कॉलोनियल एनालिसिस, कॉलोनियल की हम बात करें, so most of you must be familiar what is colonial era, what was the colonial time when Many countries in Asia, Africa, other part of the world, they were the colonies of the developed world countries, like French colonies, British colonies, right? Uh, This is how it is. Portuguese colonies. So they were the powers, actually, Western powers. They were ruling in many part of the world, in many countries, right? तो वो colonial era था, colonial time, post-colonial analysis. Once, slowly, gradually, the countries got independence, they became more aware and all. They fought for their independence and all. तो उसके बाद की जो analysis की बात कर रहे हैं, post-colonial analysis has been concerned with that time, has been concerned with elaboration of theoretical structures that contest that that opposes, that contest the previous dominant western ways of seeing things. तो किस चीज को कॉन्टेस्ट करते हैं? प्रीवियस डोमिनेंट वेस्टर्न वेज ऑफ सीइंग थिंग्स, देयर वर द वेस्टर्न बिलीफ ऑन मेनी थिंग्स, इवन ऑन द कॉलोनाइजिंग अदर कंट्रीज, कॉलोनाइजेशन पे भी उनका अपना अलग मानना था. वी आर एक्चुअली सिविलाइजिंग दीज कंट्रीज, दे आर नॉट सिविलाइज्ड. So we went there and brought some kind of civilization, and we civilized the masses. That's what they believe. These kind of there were many beliefs of that. Anyway, so वही कह रहे हैं कि contest the previous dominant Western ways of seeing the things. A simple analogy, example, similarity. That's what they're saying. A simple analogy would be with feminism. अब इन्होंने एक एग्जाम्पल लिया है फेमिनिज्म का, इसी के थ्रू बात करना शुरू कर रहे हैं कि पोस्ट कॉलोनियल एनालिसिस में सारी बातें करने के बाद व्हाट इज बीइंग कंटेस्टेड, द वेस्टर्न beliefs are being contested. The very first example they have taken for the discussion in this passage is feminism, which has involved a comparable kind of project. There was time when ऐसा समय हुआ करता था when any book you might read, any speech you might hear, any film that you saw was always, that's also a anyway keyword, a transitional word जो कि हमने mark नहीं किया है, we forgot, always the one who was looked at, right? She was never the observing eye. She was never the observing eye. For centuries, centuries तक, दशकों तक, it was assumed, सैकड़ों सालों तक, centuries for 100 years, right, decades होता है 10 for दशक. So it was assumed that women were less intelligent, less, women were less intelligent than men, and that they did not merit the same degree of education. That's what the belief was at the earlier time. Anyway, degree of education. They were not allowed a vote of political system, as you must be aware, right? The women, even in the so-called developed world, so-called developed countries and so-called civilized countries, they got the voting rights pretty late, right? And that too after a lot of long struggle. Right? वही सब रेफर कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे. Allowed a vote in the political system. By the same token, any kind of knowledge that had been discredited by science, such as superstition and traditional practices of childbirth, of healing, all these attitudes were part of a larger system in which women were dominated. Women were dominated, exploited, and physically abused by men. Slowly but increasingly, from the end of 18th century, ये सारे के सारे वो हमारे transitional words हैं, which gives the flow of the passage. So by the end of the 18th century, feminists began to contest what? This situation, this belief. The more they contested, it became increasingly obvious that these attitudes extended into the whole of the culture. These attitudes extended into the whole of the culture, social, relations, politics, law, medicines, and art, and popular academic knowledge. It got extended anywhere, right? Everywhere. So that's how the post-colonial analysis. That's where it started, and the whole paragraph talked about the feminism, the women, how, what was the condition of the women in the society, in every society, what was prevalent in all the societies, and how women were really oppressed, right, and exploited, and how they actually contested that situation and they fought for it everywhere, right? That's how it ended. So the whole paragraph, what it talks about, we're able to get the gist of it, the context of it, विद द हेल्प ऑफ ट्रांजिशनल वर्ड्स. तो जो कि मैंने जो हमारे कुछ फ्री सेशंस भी थे मैराथन में, उसमें भी हमने इन पे बात की थी, इसी तरह से पढ़ना है. और अगर इसी तरह से पढ़ रहे हो तो यू गेटिंग द जस्ट एवरीथिंग, राइट? इट्स प्रीटी, देन इट बिकम्स प्रीटी इजी. एंड अगर कोई चीज नहीं भी समझ में आती, कहीं पे एम्बिग्यूटी भी है, तो यू कैन कम बैक एंड क्रॉस चेक एंड आंसर ऑल योर 5 क्वेश्चंस वेरी इजीली. आ जाओ देखते हैं हम थोड़े क्वेश्चंस. So the very first question, that is, post-colonialism is a contestation of then existing dominant Western practices. Right. Next, a contestation of Western practices of colonial states in colonial states, a contestation of the superstitious practices, and approval of the indigenous practices. See, सारा पढ़ने के बाद हमें समझ में आया indigenous practices की कोई बात हो नहीं रही है, contestation की बात superstitious practices की ही नहीं, और contestation of the Western practices in colonial states की कोई बात ही नहीं हो रही है. The A is the correct answer. The contestation of then existing dominant Western practices. That's what is the post-colonialism refers to here. So the first question is A is the correct answer, right? In the context of the passage, what is being discussed in the passage. What does she was always an object, never a subject, mean? Women were given respect and worshipped? No, this hasn't been discussed क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो बात हो रही है how the women were actually oppressed and exploited. So women were not given any right equal to men, right? That's what you can say. Women were treated on at par with men, and women likes to be treated inferior. तो इसमें कोई मतलब नहीं है, इसका भी कोई मतलब नहीं है, इसका भी कोई मतलब, सॉरी, इसका भी कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. So B, so second B is the correct answer. So here the answer is B, and in this one the answer is A, right? Next, why was she never the observing eye? 3, ये questions beginning में था, right? Beginning के 2-3 lines में, she was beautiful and so she was observed by men. She liked to be observed by men, and women were assumed to be less intelligent than men, and women were assumed to be intelligent than men. एक ही इसमें मिलता है जो तुम्हारा पैसेज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में ऑप्शन मिल रहा है, दैट इज सी. सो द आंसर इज हियर सी. सो थर्ड क्वेश्चन, द आंसर इज सी. आई थिंक ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स ने यही मार्क किया होगा क्वेश्चन. यू मस्ट हैव गॉट इट करेक्ट. So all these 3 questions. आज हम आगे के 2 questions देखते हैं इसी passage पे based. The contestation to dominance of the male resulted in, the contestation to dominance of male resulted in participation of women in social relations, law, medicines, the arts, popular and academic knowledge. Participation of men in social relations, men की तो बात ही नहीं हो रही है, हम यहाँ बात contestation of dominance of male resulted in. The male were anyway earlier, they were there, they were in everything. So we result, this cannot be the result anyway. So participation of women in social movements and contestation with males in life leading to divorce. तो इसका तो कोई बात ही नहीं हो रही है, सोशल मूवमेंट्स की भी कोई बात नहीं हो रही है. अगर ए और बी में इफ यू लिल कंफ्यूज्ड, so you can mark, so which one is the correct answer? Participation of women, dominance of the male resulted in, contestation किस चीज में result हुआ, क्या परिणाम हुआ उसका? So participation of women in social relations, law, medicines, and that's what was the answer. That's the answer. So the answer is A. That is for fourth. Fifth, which word in the passage is opposite of what? Contrast. Contrast का मतलब ही होता है opposite in meaning, right? So आज देखते हैं भाई इसमें opposite, contrast का भी opposite पूछ रहे हैं. कंटेस्टेशंस की बात तो ऑपोजिट से नहीं, मतलब कंट्रास्ट से होगा नहीं. ट्रिवियल, पेटी, वेरी डिस्क्रेडिटेड, एनालॉजी. डिस्क्रेडिटेड का भी कोई मतलब नहीं है इसका. अगर हम ऑपोजिट की बात करें, so एनालॉजी कैट कुड बी दी ऑपोजिट. एनालॉजी, सिमिलैरिटी, एग्जांपल, ऐसा कुछ. सो हियर द आंसर इज डी, राइट? दैट्स द आंसर. सो ऑल 5 क्वेश्चंस वी सॉ, वेरी इजी, आसानी से पैसेज पे बेस्ड थे. अगर हमें समझ में आया तो आई थिंक यू मस्ट हैव मार्क्ड इट. आ जाओ नेक्स्ट. The other passage is, I can read that quickly. आज हम साथ में करते हैं इसको भी. इसमें मैंने मार्क नहीं किया है ट्रांजिशनल वर्ड्स, क्योंकि एक पैसेज में मैंने मार्क्स इसलिए कर दिया था जल्दी से, क्योंकि मैं दिखाना चाह रहा था. हमने मैराथन वाले क्लासेस में भी डिस्कस किया था इस तरीके को करने का. इस तरीके से पढ़ने से किस तरह से हमें आसानी से एक ग्रिप हो जाती है हमारी कंटेक्स्ट पे, और जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ भी सकते हैं, क्योंकि हम उन्हीं कीवर्ड्स पे ध्यान दे रहे हैं. वी आर कैचिंग द फ्लो, वी गोइंग थ्रू द प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द पैसेज. पैसेज जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ रहा है हम समझ पा रहे हैं उस चीज को, सारे ट्विस्ट और टर्न को. तो वो दिखाने के लिए मैंने पहले में ट्रांजिशनल वर्ड्स मार्क कर दिए थे. इसमें आ जाओ हम करते हैं. हाउ वंडरफुल इज द लिविंग वर्ल्ड. हाउ वंडरफुल इज द लिविंग वर्ल्ड. दैट्स हाउ दे स्टार्ट. हाउ वंडरफुल इज द लिविंग वर्ल्ड. द वाइड रेंज ऑफ लिविंग टाइप्स इज अमेजिंग. The wide range of living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, a hot spring, leave us speechless. Yes, obviously, it's beautiful earth we live in, though we're not, doing much to save it. The beauty of a galloping horse or a migrating birds, right? The valley of flowers or the attracting shark evokes awe and a deep sense of wonder, right? The ecological and conflict and cooperation among members of the population and among populations of a community, members of a population and community, or even a molecular traffic inside a cell make us deeply reflect on what indeed is a life? That's a bigger question they're asking. What indeed is life? That's what the author says, that these all conflict and cooperation, ecological conflict and cooperation, this makes us think what indeed is life. This question has two implicit questions within it. Two implicit questions within it. The first, these are the transitional words. The first is a technical one. पहला तो technical question है, which is implicitly, into it, seeks the answer to what living is as opposed to non-living. And the second one is the philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. Right? Two questions they discussed about it. And what is living? They're going a little deeper into this question. When we try to define living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristics exhibited by the living organisms: growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment, and mount a suitable response come to our mind immediately as unique features of living organisms. As we all know, right? That's how we differentiate living and non-living, right? They are motile, they are this, they are that, they do the reproduction and everything. That's what they're explaining. One can add a few more features like metabolism, ability to self-replicate, self-organize, interact, and emergence of this to this list. Keep going on, right? So here again, see, they started explaining about the world, the beautiful world, the diversity, the extraordinary habitats of it, and they have even one beautiful aspects of it. They have mentioned here. See one by one: galloping horse, migrating birds, valley of flowers, attracting shark evokes the kind of awe and the sense of wonder in us. That's how it began, and later on it ended with asking two questions, one technical one, the other one philosophical one. और फिर उसी को explain करते हुए गए हैं how we go by the very simplistic differentiation between the living and non-living in the sense of like some features. इसी से हाँ, इतना ही हम रखते हैं बट और भी चार्ज इतने पे एंड हो जाता है पैसेज हमारा फिलहाल. हमें पैसेज का एक जिस समझ में आया, एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझ में आया, राइट? आज हम इन पे क्वेश्चंस करते हैं. So very first question is, so why are the living types amazing? Why are the living types amazing? That's the very first question. That's how the passage started. So the extraordinary diversity of habitats makes it amazing. Beginning में था. The living organism are acting as per their interests. The human thinking makes the living types amazing. The evolution of life makes it amazing. So evolution की बात तो कहीं हुई नहीं है. Human thinking की भी बात कहीं नहीं हुई है. ध्यान देना. A living organism are acting as per their interest. Interest की भी बात कहीं नहीं हुई है. Finally, we left with A. The sixth, which one you marked? I think most of you must have marked the A answer. So answer is A in this question. Sixth one. Next. Why does the author say ecological conflict and cooperation? बात करी है author ने third fourth line में, और उसी के basis पे दो questions की बात की है. There are implicitly two questions, one philosophical and one technical. आ जाओ देखते हैं भाई. Why? So because living organisms are structured this way. Because living organisms are structured this way. Next. Because ecological mechanism works with conflict and cooperation. Because humans want to fight and live together. Because living organisms sometimes fight and sometimes live together. Right? So anyway, if you talk about the contextual answer, जैसा कि हमने देखा हो, we must have marked this. So we reached to conclusion this one, because living organisms sometimes fight and sometimes live together, right? So if you go and read, because the human wants to fight and live, want, ऐसी कोई बात तो कहीं हुई नहीं है. Because ecological mechanism works with the conflict, एक mechanism works like that, ऐसी भी कोई बात नहीं हुई है. Because living organisms are structured this way, भी कोई बात नहीं है, but they actually live anyway. Sometimes they fight, sometimes they live together. That's the contextual answer. Next. So answer is D in this one. Come to the eighth one. Which of the following statements is true of the passage? Meaning of life could be reflected as to what living is as opposed to non-living. What living is as opposed to the non-living, and what the purpose of life is. Meaning of life could be reflected as to how living organisms live and non-living organisms exist. Meaning of life could be reflected as to where the life begins and how it ends. ऐसी भी कोई बात नहीं हुई है. The meaning of life could be reflected on how various living organisms differ. Difference की भी कोई बात नहीं हुई है. से दो तो वैसे ही है. Existence की भी कोई बात नहीं हुई. So we left with the option that is A. That's what the question has been raised in the middle of the passage. So the answer for this question is A. Right? So इसमें भी 6th, 7th, 8th. This is what the answers are. So I hope you must have marked the same answer. You can keep checking. साथ में check करते रहो. आगे हम धीरे-धीरे इसी तरह से बढ़ते रहेंगे. Now, coming back to the next one. So distinctive characteristics exhibited by organisms indicate that distinctive characteristics exhibited by organisms indicate that they are living organisms. Distinctive characteristics, ध्यान देना. They are living organisms. They are non-living organisms. They can be either living organisms or non-living organisms, and they know the purpose of life. अब distinctive characteristics की वजह से they know the purpose of life, इसका तो कोई मतलब है नहीं, right? So they can be either living with distinctive characteristics, से तो कोई मतलब हुआ नहीं इसका. They are non-living organisms. They are living organisms. A. They are actually distinctive characteristics का मतलब यही हुआ. So ninth actually the answer is A, which is the most suitable answer out of these contextually. Which word is passage means unique? Unique, we know that, right? It's not very common, it's not general. Unique. So common तो हो नहीं सकता है, बल्कि opposite है. Characteristics ये भी कोई मतलब नहीं है. Distinctive, that's unique, right? General भी कोई meaning नहीं है. So the answer is C. That's what it is. So passages में around 10 questions, and you see the questions were quite okay, right? It's a moderate passage and easy questions, so you can answer them well. So I think अभी तक check कर लिया होगा. आ जाओ हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Spotting the error. So that's where we start. So anyway, you keep answering. Just give me a sec. Anyway, so that's the thing. Now, spotting the error. The very first question is, let's begin. Well, so the instruction is the same. Each item in this section has the sentence with three underlined parts, leveled A, B, C. Read each sentence to find out whether there is any error, whether there is any error in any underlined part, and indicate your response on the answer sheet against corresponding letters A, B, C. If no error, then mark D. That's what the anyway proper instruction होता ही यही है spotting the error question में. So the very first one, he has been one the most revered member of the committee of inquiry. One के बाद भी मैं ऐसे रुक गया, ध्यान दिया होगा इस क्वेश्चन में. तो मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि most of the students must have marked this, must have seen this error. One of, each of, most of, some of. That's how we make the sentences anyway, right? One of the members. Again, after of, we talk about plural, and out of that, we're talking about one. So anyway, यहाँ पे भी yes होना चाहिए, might be misprint and all. So here it has to be of. So the problem is with B. So the answer is B. That's what the answer is. Now, coming back to the next one, let's check the second question. Rahul asked me whether I was interested to joining the group for the trip. So that's the next question. Rahul asked me whether I was interested. The moment you see interested, you must be familiar with the fixed preposition which we study in the class. Fixed preposition, and you know that interested in, right? Result in. Keep saying that all. You know that. In. So there are many verbs, adjectives with which you use in. So I was interested. To is not correct. It should be in. So the answer is C. So in this question, the answer is C. So second one, right? So it's easy, right? Spotting the error questions were easy. आज हम आगे देखते हैं फिलहाल तो. Next. Now the next one is where there is a will, there is a way. So where there is a will, there is a way. So see in this question, you pretty much familiar with this, right? Epithet should not be epithet anyway. Yes. So you're pretty much familiar. Is this proverb? And you must have heard this. It's a proverb, right? Where there is a will, then there is a way. So this one extra word has been added into it, which is not correct. Right? So ये तो correct नहीं है, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ epithet means some insulting word. That's not correct here. This is not an insulting word. This is pretty, good saying, good proverb. So epithet word cannot describe it. This doesn't describe it well. So this is not a suitable word. Here should be either proverb, or you can go for the even epigram and all. That even is fine, but epithet is not fine. So in that case, obviously there is some ambiguity. So you can look for the answer, but anyway, contextually you can mark B, but there is a problem with this word. That word is not suitable here, not appropriate. Anyway, so the answer you can say B, but there is a problem with the C as well, right? That word is not suitable word in this context to describe this proverb, right? Next. Next one is Indian feminism. Next, Indian feminism grew out of the women's movements of the late 19th century, reached full maturity in the early 20th century. So you start. Indian feminism grew out of the women's movements of the late 19th century, comma, reached full maturity in the early 20th century. So either it should have been here and or something, or if you don't want to add and here, it must have been here somewhere, that and all. ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए था. That, which, कुछ ऐसा, that must have been something, right? Then it will take care of this comma. Comma के साथ साथ भी ये sentence सही हो जाएगा, right? So which one you marked, you can mark it. So anyway, the answer is A. So the answer here is A. That's where the problem is, because if you add that, it will start working fine. So which that if you add it, comma से भी ये sentence पूरा meaningful हो जाएगा और proper structure हो जाएगा इसका. Otherwise, there has to be and at least to take it forward. So that's all. Next, 15. So the 15 one, the greatest merit of democracy is that everyone feels free and can pursue his or her interest. The greatest merit of democracy is that everyone feels, very good, सही है, free and can pursue. अब सी कैन के बाद जितने भी हमारे मॉडल्स हैं, यू ऑल नो दैट, राइट? मॉडल्स के साथ वी ऑलवेज यूज V1 वर्ब्स फर्स्ट फॉर्म. Can do, can go, can play. You never say can goes. Do you ever say can goes, will goes? Not at all, right? That's the reason. Can pursues is not correct. So all these models जितने भी हैं, मॉडल्स की तरह हम जब तक यूज करते हैं, यहां तक कि नीड नॉट और डेयर नॉट भी, तब तक वी ऑलवेज यूज फर्स्ट फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब. बाकी सिंगुलर एस एस की जरूरत नहीं होती. So that's not required. So the error is in the C part. So the answer has to be C in the 15th one. Next, all stakeholders. Next, so see, questions कहीं पे थोड़े से गलत टाइप हुए हैं. So you keep checking with the paper. That's what I'm doing. जिससे कि पता चलता रहे. All stakeholders of education have the right to ask for accountability in every aspects of its implementation. See, all stakeholders of education have all, सही है सब, right to ask for accountability in every aspects. As we all know, right, distributive पढ़ा है हम सब ने. Pronoun you must have studied, even the adjective, each, every, and others, right? The singular ones. So if a noun is used immediately after these words, that noun will always be singular. Why? क्यों होगा ऐसा? क्योंकि ये बात ही करते हैं किसकी? वन एट अ टाइम. They talk about one at a time. So this aspects is not correct. S should not be there. Every aspect, every boy, every country, every girl. That's how you talk, right? So that's very, very small error. You can pick it immediately the moment you see every or even each. So the problem is in the C section, right? That's where the error lie. Now next. So next one is the learning. Yes, learning many languages promotes linguistic, cultural, social harmonies among people speaking different languages. So learning many languages promotes. Learning की बात करो, promotes is fine. Linguistic, cultural, social harmonies. No, harmony. It's not harmonies. We don't make plural of it. That's wrong, right? Among people speaking different languages. So the problem is in the B. So the error is in B part. So that's what the answer is. Next, 18. अच्छा 18 देखते हैं. So one should not act according to the one's whims and fancies on public places. 18, right? So on public places, one should not act according to one's whims and so one is correct. One के साथ सही है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं इसमें. That's how you use one's possessive one के साथ. So the problem is here, the public places at sometimes even in some premises. So at public places, that's the problem. So the problem is in C part. So the answer is C in this one. Again, the easy one. Next, 19. Economists believe that India had taken a new turn in 1990 with the liberalization to her economy. So economists believe, यहाँ तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, it's fine. Economists plural believe plural that India had taken a new turn in 1990. भाई यहाँ पे बात तो हम पास्ट की कर रहे हैं. We talking about past here. लेकिन पास्ट में भी if there are two actions, as we all know, हम सब जानते हैं टेंस की इतनी familiarity हमें है, we have studied in the classes, we prepared well, कि अगर मान लो दो पास्ट के actions हैं and one action happened earlier and the other action happened later, तो हम earlier action के लिए had plus v3 या past perfect की बात करते हैं. बट अदरवाइज या फिर दूसरा केस ये हो सकता है कि पास्ट का कोई एक्शन किसी पास्ट टाइम रेफरेंस से या पास्ट डिनोट करने वाले वर्ड से शब्द से पहले हुआ है. पास्ट टाइम रेफरेंस जैसे कि हम बात कर चुके बिफोर लास्ट वीक, ऐसा कुछ, तब पास्ट परफेक्ट जस्टिफाइड होता है. लेकिन यहां तो ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं. यहां तो केवल पास्ट की बात हो रही है. यहां ना तो पास्ट के दो एक्शन है, एक पहले हुआ है, ना ही कोई पास्ट का एक्शन किसी पास्ट टाइम रेफरेंस से पहले हुआ है. इसका सीधा पॉइंट ये हुआ, दिस हैड प्लस टेकन इज नॉट जस्टिफाइड हियर, राइट? ना तो हमें हैड की जरूरत है ना ही टेकन की. इट हैज टू बी took, simple past. That's what fits with this past denoting word, right? इसीलिए बहुत सारे ऐसे वर्ड्स हैं which denotes past, उसमें हम सिंपल पास्ट यूज करते हैं. So anyway, वहाँ हम सिंपल वहाँ हम प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट भी यूज नहीं करते, as we all know that, right? We keep on differentiating anyway. So economists believe that India took a new turn in 1990 with the liberalization to her economy. हर में अगर कुछ बच्चे कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं तो let me tell you that personification वगैरह पढ़ा होगा. So sometimes for country and other stuff we use you know she, right, and her. So it's fine. That's not a problem. So next. So the problem is in B. So the error is in B part. So the 19th, ज़्यादातर students ने जो भी mark किया हो, you can answer, you can send, keep sending the messages. So B part has the problem. Now next 20th. The irrigation works have a special importance in agricultural countries like India, where rainfall is unequally distributed throughout the seasons. Right? So irrigation works have a special importance in agricultural countries like India, where the rainfall is unequally distributed throughout the seasons. So what do you mark? You can keep answering there, right? Anyway, so irrigation works have a special importance in agricultural countries. So this have is not required here. In irrigation, we're talking about the sichai and all. Thus cannot be plural. So irrigation works has a special importance in agricultural countries like India, where rainfall is unequally distributed throughout the seasons. Right. So this is what I think most of you must have marked. So this A is the correct answer here. Now Let's move to the next one. Hmm. Yes, 20th. So this is how the error has been done. So error spotting the error हमने कर लिया, and almost it was again the moderate questions, easy ones which we have discussed in the class, जो कि हम क्लास में पढ़ रहे होते हैं. अगर थोड़ा सा prepared हो तो you must have marked I think with accuracy. और काफी students ने mark भी किया है जितना हम देख रहे हैं. So most of you actually did the spotting the error portion with accuracy. आ जाओ, let's move to the sentences. That's what we're doing next. So keep answering. Just give me a sec. Hmm. So error questions of we have already almost done. Where's 20th? C. Irrigation works. This question. In this question was checked in the paper. Paper में कुछ और दिया था यहाँ पे. It was an I think. If that is the case, you can check that. Let me check it. See, this is the problem. So in the paper, there here it was an, right? So just give me a second. So here there should not be a problem. There is a there is a problem with the typing. Just give me a second now. Then we'll discuss this again. Yes. Now, see, an agricultural countries. Irrigation works here, they're talking about all kinds of works anyway, right? This is a blunder. An and then countries. That's not correct, right? And के साथ you cannot take it plural. An agricultural country. या तो फिर this and should अगर नहीं होता यहाँ पे, then you can go for in agricultural countries. So in an agricultural country like India, where rainfall is unequally distributed, so this B part has the problem. Right, this an is given there. I'm sorry. आ जाओ आगे बढ़ते हैं. Next, there is some some parts कुछ जगहों पे कुछ प्रॉब्लम है टाइपिंग में. तो ऐसा एक पहले भी था एक दो में, तो you keep pointing out anyway, right? And I am even cross checking now. I'll keep cross checking. Now let's move further. Ordering of the words, right? Now we'll do this one. Just yes, so let's discuss the ordering of the words. That's one of the important section. This was also pretty okay. So the very first sentence, थोड़ा सा हम instruction देख लेते हैं. I'll keep क्रॉस चेकिंग कि कहीं पे अगर मान लो टाइपिंग मिस्टेक्स है, क्योंकि पीछे भी एक दो जगह हमें मिल चुकी है, उसकी वजह से हम गलतियां कर रहे हैं. नाउ कमिंग बैक दिस, ईच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आइटम्स ऑफ दिस सेक्शन कंसिस्ट ऑफ द सेंटेंस parts of which have been jumbled, and these parts have been labeled as P, Q, R, S, and given below each sentences are four sequences, namely this, and you're required to rearrange the jumbled part of the sentences and mark your response accordingly. So the very first one is history of life, evolutionary biology is forms on earth the study of. So history of life, that cannot be the subject. Evolutionary biology is, anyway it's with is, so this is a subject anyway, right? Forms on earth the study of. So what will happen? So this Q, the study of, so evolutionary biology is the study of, so keep saying that. So anyway, Q is the study of, so which one you marked here? Q and S. P, history of life, forms on earth. Anyway, so B is the answer anyway, right? Q goes with S and then P and R. That's the answer. See, this is the subject. So evolutionary biology is the study of history of life forms on earth. और इसके अलावा ना तो कोई सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है दूसरा. द स्टडी ऑफ कैन नॉट बी द सब्जेक्ट, क्योंकि वर्ब कहाँ से, दिस इज द सब्जेक्ट एंड हियर द वर्ब. तो इस तरह से ये तो हमने पहला सेंटेंस, पहला पार्ट ढूंढ ही लिया सेंटेंस का. विद दिस जेल्स वेल, this goes well, the study of, so q plus s, that has to be there. और qs तो वैसे भी औरों में किसी में नहीं है, ओनली दो में बचता है, इसमें इसमें. दिस कैन नॉट बी द आंसर एनीवे, क्योंकि q और s एंड में आ ही नहीं सकता, राइट, एज यू ऑल नो. सो वी left with one option, that is B. So the answer is B. Now let's come to the next question. Anyway, so now अगला है हमारा life is, I'll keep checking anyway. Life is considered the origin of the history of universe, a unique event in the correct sentence should be, ओके ऑलराइट. तो ये अलग है, टाइपिंग एरर नहीं है. तो दिस इज द सेपरेट पार्ट, सेंटेंस यहीं तक है हमारा. सो द लाइफ इज कंसीडर्ड द ओरिजिन ऑफ द हिस्ट्री ऑफ यूनिवर्स, अ यूनिक इवेंट इन. सो आ जाओ हम देखते हैं, क्वेश्चन यही है. हाँ, नीचे वाला पार्ट अलग है हमारा. नाउ सो लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. सो अगेन सी, सो लाइफ इज कंसीडर्ड, दैट्स अगेन इट हैज सब्जेक्ट. सो पी, राइट, that will be in the beginning. Anyway, PSQR, we have the option. Only one sentence is the origin of the history of universe, a unique event in. So this has verb. So the life is considered. So P has to be in beginning. ऐसे ही अगर हमने एक भी find out कर लिया इस part में, so हमने देखा हम आसानी से eliminate कर सकते हैं. This is the only option you left with. So 22. I think most of the, just no. Just give me a sec. No. The history of universe. PSR, they are coming together, right? So the life is considered a unique event in the history of the universe and the origin of. So this one is the option, right? This is the answer. The origin of life is considered a unique event in the history of the universe. So ये तीनों तो हमने देख लिया, all three has link, but this will start with this Q. Then you are left with this A. So the answer is A. That's the answer. Now let's move to the next one. Next, I think it's the same, it's the correct one. We'll keep cross checking क्योंकि जिससे कोई problem ना हो हमारे sentences में. Now, so the productive resources is how we manage, and competitiveness critical to strategic growth. Now, so आज हम देखते हैं option फिलहाल. So if you see Q, how we manage productive resources, how we manage productive resources. See, productive resources का तो वैसे भी is the verb, right? So how we manage productive resources, ये पूरा का पूरा subject की तरह काम करेगा हमारा. So we left with this option, QP, right? how we manage productive resources is, right, critical to strategic growth. This is the option, right? See, and competitiveness. So anyway, और किसी में भी Q और P हमारे साथ में नहीं आ रहे हैं, और Q will only come in the beginning because we're talking about the how we manage the productive resources is critical to strategic growth and competitiveness. और दूसरा कुछ भी beginning में नहीं आ सकता. Neither P will be in the beginning. You cannot put P in the beginning, right? Productive resources is, that will not make sense. Sentence will not be there. R you cannot keep in the beginning, and के साथ तो you cannot start even the sentence here in this options. And then you have S, critical to strategic growth. Critical to strategic growth cannot be in the beginning, cannot be the subject. So finally you're left with this part, right? The answer is D, if you see all these. Now next, I think that's what you marked, most of you. Yes, keep answering. 24. Read that. I think it's typed properly. Mm, yes, so set A. Yes. Huh. So in the service firms, operation strategy from the corporate strategy is generally inseparable. PQRS. Check now. Which one is the answer here? Which one will you go for? So in the service firms, so anyway, this will come either in the end and all. So that cannot be the subject, as you all know. Hmm. Operation strategy in the service firms from the corporate strategy in the service firm, no, is generally inseparable. SR, right? S and then R, you see the link, is generally inseparable from the corporate strategy, right? That's what the link is. So you only get B as an option. So answer is B here. C. So operation strategy in the service firms is generally inseparable from the corporate strategy. That's how the answer is. There's no other option with sets like this. You can check again. Now next. Again, I think it's correctly typed. Yes, traveling, that's how it starts. A recent survey has revealed, yes, now that they are worried about their safety even as more and more Indians. SPQRS, yes. All right. So let's check about this. Let's talk about this. So answer here is, so which one you'll start with? Are traveling, a recent survey, more and more Indians, more and more Indians are traveling, right? That's where the link is, S and P. So more and more Indians are traveling, SP, SP. This is the only one. So more and more Indians are traveling. See, जब हम elimination कर रहे हैं तो एक चीज ध्यान में रखना है, हमें हमें ऑप्शन के साथ काम करना है. You work with options, you'll get the answers easily और जल्दी मिलेगा. Otherwise, you'll start, you'll be shuffling and actually you'll be fixing all the parts. That will take more time. अगर हम ऑप्शन के साथ काम करें तो हमें आसानी होगी. सी हमने एक चीज देखा कि इट हैज लिंक, राइट? मोर एंड मोर इंडियंस आर ट्रैवलिंग, और हमें फटाफट ऑप्शन में मिल गया इफ यू वर्किंग विद द ऑप्शन. सो द आंसर इज ए. So 25A, I think that's what most of you must have got. Yes. Now next, let's move to the next one. The imagination of children, stories can exercise more than stories because they tell. Okay, all right. So mark this. Typed correctly typed है मुझे जहाँ तक लगता है. The imagination of children. Okay, all right. Yes, it's properly typed. Let's do it. So, stories can exercise the imagination of children. More than the stories, the imagination of the children, because they tell the imagination, the stories can exercise. This will be the first part. ये तो हमें समझ में आ गया. The sentence will start with stories can exercise more than stories, इसके साथ ये तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. It's not gelling well, it's not going well with this one. Stories can exercise because इससे भी कोई मतलब नहीं है. We are left with this, right? So this is how it is. So Q P. So stories can exercise the imagination of children, right? So Q and P. So we do we have the options Q and P? Here, no option. Here, no option. Here, no option. This is the only one where Q and P are coming together. Yes, R S. So more than stories. No, 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 no. Just a second. No, no, no. Q P are here, right? Q P are there in the C. So stories can exercise the imagination of children, and then S because they tell more than stories. It's little थोड़ा सा trickier है. So इसमें हो क्या रहा है कि it's little philosophical. That's how this is actually the sense is, the meaning is. इस वजह से कई बार हो सकता है तुम्हें problem भी हो. Stories can exercise the imagination of the children. You might be little intrigued कि ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है. But see all the parts देखने के बाद this stories can exercise this part is actually the starting of the sentence and that does not go well with R and S. तो हमें इतनी बात तो समझ में आई Q and P has the mandatory pair. Mandatory pair वाली बात हम देखते हैं पैराजम्बल में जब हम सेंटेंसेस को वो कर रहे होते हैं. when we talk about the sentence arrangement, then we talk about mandatory pair. काफी हेल्प लेते हैं और वो यहाँ भी हेल्पफुल हो रही है, होती है, देखते हैं, हमने करते हुए भी देखा हुआ है चीज. See, अब Q के साथ R and Q के साथ S, that doesn't go well, and you only left with the option this Q and P. And if you start checking, two options has the Q and P together. तो इन्हीं दो में से एक हो सकता है. हमने देखा C is the better option. So the answer is C because इसी से start होगा sentence. तो D we ruled out. क्योंकि D में क्या है? This is coming in the end and the sentence is actually starting with more than stories because they tell, which has no relation. So finally we're left with C. That's what you do. So mandatory pairs यहाँ भी हमें खूब help करते हैं. Now next. 27 has a record of and suffering the humans, the achievements, experiments, history is considered. I think it's typed well correctly. 27. Yes, as a record of. हाँ ठीक है. It's typed correctly. See. आज देखते हैं. As a record of, that cannot be the starting. And suffering of the humans, the achievements, experiments, history is considered. This could be the beginning, right? S. The history is considered the achievements, experiments, and sufferings of human. रुक जाओ देखते हैं S के साथ. It's S goes well with which one? Hmm? P. History is considered record of the achievements, experiments, and sufferings of humans. Yes, actually. See, achievements, records, इतना तो हमें दिख रहा है R के साथ Q, right? So the achievements, experiments, and suffering of humans. This has link, and this is the beginning. This goes well with P. History is considered as a record of, और कहीं पे आ नहीं सकता हमारा as a record of. So history is considered as a record of the achievements, experiments, and sufferings of humans. So S and P and R and Q both are coming as a mandatory pair here. So S, P, R, Q. We're left with A option. 27. I think most of you must have marked A. So answer A. Okay, that's how it is, right? Let's move further. 28. I think typed well. It's correctly typed. Yes. So can be invented. It appears. ठीक. Has been invented. That all that. हाँ जो देखते हैं फिलहाल तो. Let's talk about the options. Can be invented. It appears. Has been invented. That all that. 28. So anyway, so the correct sequence could be. It appears. इतना तो हमें देख के समझ में आ रहा है कि अगर हम starting of the sentence की बात करें, so Q is the beginning, right? It appears अब इट अपीयर्स के बाद ना तो कैन आ सकता है, ये इसके साथ इट विल नॉट गो, इसके साथ भी नहीं होगा, ये तो दोनों हमें समझ में आ चुका है. सो इट अपीयर्स दैट सो दिस इज द करेक्ट मैंडेटरी पेयर Q और S का. We get the mandatory pair here. So it appears that all that QS कहाँ कहाँ है हमारा QS? QS यहाँ भी है और कहीं नहीं है, हम इतने से ही मार्क कर सकते हैं. A, it's all wrong, right? Q के साथ और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं आ सकता. We can check that because it appears के बाद you cannot use can another model. It appears के बाद has been you cannot use it. So Q के बाद P R इस कुछ भी नहीं आ सकते. इसमें Q के बाद R है which is wrong. इसमें Q के बाद P है which is again wrong. और this one has the after Q and R. That's also wrong. So C beginning में ही हम elimination करके आसानी से अपने आंसर पे पहुंच सकते हैं. That's the A. That's what you'll do. Mandatory pair obviously you have found and then elimination. That's what you have to do. Okay? And you will be able to mark all these answers. Let's move to the next one. 29, right? So I think typed well, typed correctly. During the last century, Indian social, political, and cultural life as a testimony of Indian cinema, right? Stands. So typed properly, stands in the end. Yes, yeah. चलो आ जाओ देखते हैं इसमें भी हम फिलहाल तो. During the last century could be the beginning. Indian social, political, and cultural life. This could be the beginning as a testimony of, again, this cannot be the beginning. Indian cinema stands. I think ये साथ में होना चाहिए. Indian cinema stands. Yes. ये stands will be here. ये नीचे आ गया है. It's a typing error. So Indian cinema stands. So आ जाओ. Now we'll discuss that. So Indian cinema stands. If you start discussing this, during the last century, Indian social, political, and cultural life as a testimony of, ये पहला नहीं हो सकता. Indian cinema stands. This could be the first sentence. Why? Let's check it. So during the last century, ये या तो beginning में आ सकता है, either in the beginning of the sentence, beginning or end. इतनी हमें बात समझ में आ रही है, या और कहीं नहीं जा सकता. You can separate this with a comma in the beginning, or you can put this in the end. Apart from this, the other parts, Indian social, political, and cultural life, that could be the starting of the sentence, लेकिन इसके साथ verb चाहिए हमें. Right? कुछ आगे further. As a testimony of, that cannot be the beginning. That cannot the sentence start with. हमारे पास we are left with one option. Indian cinema stands. Indian cinema stands. So then S will be the starting. S starting होने से हमें इतनी बात समझ में आ गई, इन्हीं दो ऑप्शन में से हम बात करने वाले हैं, right? So Indian cinema stands, and after that you can go for Indian cinema stands as a testimony of. So stands के साथ this forms the mandatory pair. ये और किसी के साथ नहीं जाएगा. Indian cinema starts as a excuse me. Indian cinema stands as a testimony of. So इसमें हमारे पास ऑप्शन कौन सा बचा? We have S and R. So S के साथ R we have only one. This also will be eliminated. So D is the answer here. S R and Q P. So Indian cinema stands as a testimony of, and then you go for Q, Indian political, social, political, cultural life during the last century. Right? That's the answer. So answer is D. Answer is D. So mandatory pairs and elimination. That's what you're doing here. And you're able to mark the answers. Let's move to the next one. इसमें भी I think it must have been typed correctly. हम थोड़ा सा देखते हैं typed correctly or not. 30th, right? So see, all of searches for knowledge should be the beginning and exploration into truth and the experiments of life. Yes, proper. So now let's begin with the answers. Which one is answer? Now, this cannot be the starting. This cannot be the starting. An exploration into truth, an experiment of life. This will be the beginning. So let's start with. अब इसके साथ mandatory pair form करो. An exploration into truth should be the beginning. An exploration into truth of all the searches for knowledge. an exploration into truth and experiments of life. Right? So which one should be the beginning? Mm-hmm. तो किसके साथ this forms the, well, here it doesn't form. Exploration into the truth of all searches for knowledge. No. An exploration into truth and the experiment of life. An exploration into truth should be the beginning uh, of all the searches for knowledge and experiment of life. Anyway, see, PS, they have mandatory pairs actually, right? They have mandatory pairs. And even R and Q have the mandatory pairs. It has no mandatory pair there. So an exploration into the truth should be the of beginning of is beginning की वजह से Q के साथ P you form it, right? So right, PS R Q and then P. That's what it is. So RQPS, that's the option, right? If you do the mandatory pairing, A. A is the correct answer. So answer is A. So what we are doing here again the mandatory pairs. The very beginning will be the R1 an exploration into the truth. उसको हमने कोशिश करी कि which will किसके साथ ये pair होगा. And then we came to conclusion that an exploration into truth either will go with Q. Truth off नहीं हो सकता. Beginning off. ऑफ और बिगिनिंग गिव्स अस अ क्लू क्योंकि क्यू के बाद पी होगा. क्यू पी हमने यहां पे भी देख सकते हैं हम क्यू के साथ पी क्यू और पी का जो पेयर है वो कहीं नहीं है क्योंकि पी क्यू से पहले तो आ ही नहीं सकता. दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. बिगिनिंग ऑफ ऑल सर्चेस, ट्रूथ ऑफ ऑल सर्चेस, बिगिनिंग ऑफ ऑल सर्चेस एंड लाइफ ऑफ ऑल सर्चेस, इन सब में इफ यू डू द एलिमिनेशन, इफ यू डू द मैंडेटरी पेयरिंग, तो हमें इतनी बात समझ में आ रही है क्यू और पी का मैंडेटरी पेयरिंग है. राइट, इट्स अ मैंडेटरी पेयर. यहां भी बन रहा है क्यू और पी का, आर और क्यू के अलावा. सो एनीवे, क्यू एंड पी का मैंडेटरी पेयर जो कि किसी में नहीं है, तो हम इसी तरह से भी एलिमिनेट कर सकते हैं. दैट्स हाउ यू डू द एलिमिनेशन एंड यू रीच द आंसर ए. नाउ लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट. Idioms and phrases. Let's do the idioms. Anyway, so you get ready. Give me a sec. So now, so idioms and phrases. करना शुरू करते हैं हम. आई थिंक अभी तक चेक कर रहे होगे साथ में पेपर एंड यू मस्ट हैव गॉट मेनी 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 क्वेश्चंस. आई होप करेक्ट, राइट, एक्यूरेसी अच्छी होगी मैं उम्मीद कर रहा हूँ स्टूडेंट्स से. इसका जहां तक हम बात करें अगर इसके इंस्ट्रक्शन की, तो इट्स गिवन बिलो आर सम idioms and phrases followed by the four alternatives. We all know that meaning to each, and choose the response A, B, C, which is the most appropriate expression, and mark your response in the answer sheet accordingly. Get a jitters, right? You're not very happy about something, get a jitters. So feeling anxious, feeling happy, and stammering, and feeling exposed. ना तो exposed की कोई बात है, ना stammering की कोई बात है, ना feeling happy. Obviously jitters when you feeling, you're not, you're worried, you're not happy, feeling anxious. That's what the meaning is. हमने बात करी हुई है, इनसे हम लिंक करते हैं, लेकिन वो हम डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे, हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. लिंक कैसा? हिस्टोरिकल लिंकेजेस, राइट. हिस्टोरिकल लिंकेजेस में हम बहुत सारी बात करते हैं, रिलीजियस, माइथोलॉजिकल, एवरीथिंग, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ लिंक्स, दैट विल डिस्कस लेटर. एनीवे, गेट्स द jitters, that's the meaning is feeling anxious, so the answer is A here. Coming back to the next one. Right, next, 32. French leave. Yes, that's the option. Now, next, see. So, French leave, again, without telling. That's what the leave is actually. French leave you must have done. So, absent from the work without asking for the permission in the French. In French, का तो कोई मतलब नहीं है. That's unnecessarily added. Asking for the permission before leaving the work. Work for the permission to get the leave, and absent from without asking for the permission. That's what the answer is, right? So the answer is D. That's what the meaning of the French leave is, right? So in French लिखने का कोई मतलब नहीं था. That could be anywhere because it's used in the English now. So that's the answer. Coming back to next one. Take a stand. When you take a stand, you take a stand and you say that you assert that this is what should be, this is what the right thing is, right? That's what the taking stand is. So 33, look for the options to publicly, बाकी सब options correct है मुझे जहां तक लगता है. Take a stand, yes, it's all typed correctly. Now move to this one. So to publicly express an opinion about something, to make a stand for one, to sit, doesn't make sense. To be firm on your work, no, वर्क की बात नहीं हो रही यहाँ पे. एंड टू बी पार्ट ऑफ द वर्क, पार्ट की भी कोई बात नहीं है. ए इज द आंसर हियर. सो द आंसर इज ए. राइट, कीप मार्क. नेक्स्ट वन, कट एंड रन. सो 34, कट एंड रन. यस, यस, यही है. क्विकली, हाँ, यस. So to avoid a difficult situation by leaving suddenly, to avoid an event suddenly, to meet some danger suddenly, to ask for the sudden meeting with someone. That's what the option is. Exact मतलब ये होता है cut and run, to avoid a difficult situation, cut and run, and you leave suddenly immediately from there. So that's the exact meaning. So the answer is the cut and run. Cut the cord. Again, cut the cord का मतलब होता है when the child is born, you know, the cord is cut. Means, you know, it's left independent. Independent वाले sense में use होता है 35. सारे ऑप्शंस टाइप्ड हैं प्रॉपरली जहां तक मुझे लगता है. देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम. यस, तो आ जाओ देखते हैं ऑप्शंस. टू स्टॉप नीडिंग योर पेरेंट्स फॉर मनी. नॉट ओनली पेरेंट्स, इंडिपेंडेंट फ्रॉम एवरीबॉडी. दैट्स व्हाट द इंडिपेंडेंट उस सेंस में यूज होता है. सो स्टॉप नीडिंग समवन एल्स to look after you and start acting independently. That's the answer anyway, right? Because that's what exactly it means. To be safe on your own, कोई मतलब नहीं है. To be married person, not at all. So this is the option, answer B. Let's move to the next one. Cupboard love. Cupboard love, again, beneficial love, right? When you, there are two types of love. One is the genuine one, and the other one is to seek some benefit. You know, you must have come across these kind of things everywhere. So cupboard love, loving someone to get something from the person. Yes, that could be the meaning. Loving to cupboards. No, that doesn't make sense. Innocent love. No. Loving the free conditions. Obviously, the answer is A. Loving someone to get something from the person. That's what it is. Let's move to the next one. Around the corner. Something is around the corner. Keep working hard, you know. Success is around the corner. That's how he keeps saying. So 37. Typed well, I think. Sare options correctly typed. Hai? Yes, let's. Uh, right. Around the corner. Yes, A, B, C, D. Yeah, now let's check it. So a thing which is at the end of the corner. An event or thing which is going to happen soon. An event that corners someone for his wrong, an event that happens in the corner of the powerful place. Not at all, right? It's a thing which is at the end of the corner, a thing which is going to happen soon. Yes, this one, B. So 37, that's B. Answer is B. That's what the exact sense is. Around the corner. Something is around the corner, it means that is about to happen. You keep working, that's about to come, that about to happen, that very soon it will happen. So the soon. So that's what the sense is. Next. With heavy heart, again unhappily, not very happy. Let's check कर लो कहीं कोई error तो नहीं है. Typing errors, no, it's fine. Now let's see. With heavy heart, again, with heavy weight, weight का कोई मतलब नहीं है. With humor, humor का भी कोई मतलब नहीं है. With the sense of shame and with the pain of regret, regret की बात करते हैं. With heavy heart, you have pain and regret. You know, you're not very happy. That's the shame का भी कोई मतलब नहीं होता. So that's the exact answer, actually, exact meaning of this with heavy heart. So D is the answer. Now let's move to the next one. Cost a bomb. Cost a bomb. A lot of, you know, it costs a lot in any sense, you know. Typed well, I think. Typed correctly. There's no issue. Not at all. Yes. So cost a bomb का मतलब ही होता है something cost a bomb. It means it's very expensive. It costs a lot of money. That's what the exact sense is. उसके according हम देखते हैं अगर options. To be very arrogant, to be with rich people. No, no. To be very to be very expensive, and to be stingy. No, this one, right? So the answer is C. That's what the meaning of the cost a bomb is. Something which costs a bomb. The new sports bike costs a bomb. Means that's very expensive in the market. Now, coming back to the next one. Roll your sleeve up. Roll your sleeve up. It means you're getting ready, getting, you know, very excited and getting ready for something. That's what the sense is. So to prepare for wrestling, to prepare for hard work, to make someone's work for you, to work with others. So simple sa baat hai. This one, roll your sleeves up. Yes. So to prepare for hard work, to prepare for something, that's what the sense is. You're preparing yourself when you know, roll your sleeves up. It means you're getting ready for the challenges, for the hard work. That's what the meaning is. So the answer will be B here. That's what the sense is. Coming back to next. अब आ जाओ दूसरे पे आते हैं. Ordering of the sentences. So the most challenging section. Which was the most challenging section. So start answering. Give me a sec. So let's begin with this section. Now, direction is the same anyway. So in this section, each items consider. This was the most challenging section, as most of you must have witnessed. ज़्यादातर students की यही complaint थी, sir, ordering the sentences were very difficult. So आज देखते हैं फिलहाल. It was difficult. We'll explain that in proper manner. अभी हम थोड़े से आंसर पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहे होंगे. See, in this section, each items consist of each sentences of a passage. The first and the sixth sentences are given. हमें पता है ऑर्डरिंग ऑफ सेंटेंसेस कई टाइप के होते हैं. इसमें फर्स्ट एंड सिक्स S1 and S6 are given in the beginning as S1 and S6, and the middle four sentences you have to arrange. Each has been jumbled and labeled as PQRS, and you have to find required answers into it. Now, proper sequence and then response will be in the answer sheet. आ जाओ देखते हैं. So the very first one is typed well, I think. S1, S6. Yes, आ जाओ. So the country's economy is growing and would continue to grow at a rapid pace in the coming years. Next, 6 is given. The market share of the electric vehicles increase with increasing availability of infrastructure. Options हमारे पास क्या है? It also provides us an opportunity to grow as manufacturer of electric vehicles. According to Niti Aayog 2019, in India reaches an electric vehicles sales penetration, emissions and oil savings can be achieved. Given the commitments that India has made on the climate front as a nation and the environmental aspects, it is likely that larger and larger share of automobile sector would be in the form of electric vehicles. And this presents a great opportunity for the automobile industry as the demand for automobiles would only increase. Options देखना हो तो options देख सकते हो क्योंकि options के साथ हम eliminate करते हैं हमेशा जितने भी ordering वाले questions हैं. You have to work with the options because that is the best strategy to come up with the answer quickly in lesser time. So options के साथ काम करना होता है हमें. सारा देख लिया हमने, right? When options give you a clue, right? SRQQ, right? SRQ, that's how it is. आ जाओ देखते हैं. So let's work on that. So the country's economy is growing and would continue to grow a rapid pace in the coming years. This जो है that is linked with this sentence, if you see the link. That's where it links with. और किसी के साथ ये नहीं हो सकता. एक ही ऑप्शन अगर मिल गया तो you'll be able to come up with the answer. क्योंकि कई बार you might think नहीं sir ये cube might come after this immediately. The country's economy is growing and would continue to grow at a rapid pace in coming years. According to Niti Aayog, if India reaches an electric vehicles sales penetration, emission and oil savings can be achieved. See, it's out of sync immediately after this. After S1. After S1, which one is most likely linked? That is this. So this presents a greater opportunity for the automobile industry as the demand for automobiles would only increase. Why? Because the country's economy is growing and would continue to grow at a rapid pace in coming years. That's what the option is, and you're left with the option now, SRQP. Right? Anyway, you can check that. After this one, you go for this. Given the commitments that India has made on the climate front as a nation and in environmental aspects, it is likely that larger and larger share of automobile sector, now they're bringing this, would be in the form of electric vehicles. Now they brought in the electric vehicle link here. अब इसके साथ you can link this, right? According to Niti Aayog, if so SRQP. So according to Niti Aayog 2019, if India reaches an electric vehicle sales penetration, emission and oil savings can be achieved. And then you go for this one. It also provides us an opportunity to grow as a manufacturer of electric vehicles, right? So finally, you're left with the option that is A. So the answer is A. It was a little trickier. Few questions, students were confused with this. That after the country's economy is growing and would continue to grow at a rapid pace in the coming years, ज़्यादातर students ने इसके तुरंत बाद S1 के बाद they actually came up with Q, but this too has no link. So you have to work on that, right? So this refers to what? This statement. That's how it is. So you'll mark the answer. That is A. Coming back to the next one. Let's read the next one. Typed well, I think, right? 42, central government, yes. Baki sare options, yes, it's typed properly. Now let's do it. So this is also central government receipts can broadly be divided into non-debt and debt receipts. This is also evident from the composition of non-debt receipts, right? So these are the two sentences which are the beginning and the end, जो कि given है. Now let's read the other options. So debt receipts mostly consist of the market borrowings. Anyway, यहाँ पे भी तुम यहाँ से हेल्प ले सकते हो. SR PQ सारे ही हैं. यहाँ से मैं कुछ खास में हेल्प beginning वाले पेयर में नहीं मिल रही है. So central government's receipts can broadly be divided into non-debt and debt receipts. इसी साथ तुम्हें लिंक करना है ऑप्शन को. Now, so debt receipts mostly consist of the market borrowings and other liabilities. The non-debt receipts comprise of tax revenues and non-tax revenues, the recovery of loans and disinvestment receipts, and the outcomes as reflected in the provisional actual figures is lower than the budget estimates owing to reduction in the net tax revenue. The budget 2018-19 targeted significantly high growth in non-debt receipts and central government विषय. Now, anyway, आ जाओ देखते हैं इसमें mandatory pairs कहाँ बन रहा है. Now, so what you see, non-debt and debt receipts. So इसमें भी हम non-debt और debt receipts की बात कर रहे हैं, तो इनके बाद यही दोनों में से एक आना है हमें. Right? So central government receipts can broadly be divided into non-debt and debt receipts. The non-debt receipts comprise tax revenues, non-tax revenues, recovery of loans, and disinvestment receipts. And debt receipts mostly consist of market borrowings and other liabilities which the government is obliged to repay in the future. Right? The outcome is reflected in the provisional actual figures is lower than the budget estimate owing to the reduction in the net tax revenue. The budget of 18-19 targeted significantly high growth in the non-debt receipts and central governments. Anyway, the answer is D. That's what the sense is. C. After this S, the debt receipts mostly consists of the market borrowings. इसमें नॉन डेट रिसिप्ट्स की बात हो रही है, इसमें डेट रिसिप्ट्स की बात हो रही है. दैट्स एंड. एनीवे, हम ज़्यादा डिटेल में इसको बाद में लेके आएंगे, अदरवाइज इट विल टेक मोर टाइम बिकॉज इट्स लॉन्गर सेशन. एनीवे, हम भी आंसर पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहे हैं. एनीवे, डी इज द आंसर इन दिस वन. लेट्स मूव टू दी. तो जितने स्टूडेंट्स ने डी मार्क किया है, दे ऑल हैव गॉट द करेक्ट आंसर इन दिस वन. 42 ए सेट ए हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, तो स्टूडेंट्स उसके अकॉर्डिंग चेक करें. राइट, लेट मी make that clear here again. Excuse me. Yes, D is the answer. Anyway, next. Coming back to 43. So 43 is typed well. अगर कहीं टाइपिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो you can immediately point. So paleontology is the study of the remains of the dead organisms over the enormous spans of time. And the S6 is faunal analysis gives information about the animal people hunted and domesticated, the age of animals at death, and the diseases that afflicted them. Now, so anyway, so now we have the options. Bones provide a great information. Paleontology के साथ हमने देखा options देख सकते हो तुम. Elimination के लिए options देखना बहुत जरूरी है. Q, S, R, P सारे ही दिए हैं options के beginning वाले में, right? Then you have to work on this and find the mandatory pairs. That's how you do. 43, I think most of the students must have attempted. So answer की जहां तक हम बात करें, so this S1 has relation with R within this discipline. So paleontology is study of the remains dead organism over the enormous span of time. Within this discipline, discipline की उसी discipline की बात कर रहे हैं जो study है ये, इसीलिए यहाँ पे लिंक बन रहा है mandatory pairs, right? So इस तरह से ऑप्शन जो हमारा बनता है आंसर का, that is this one, C. So the answer is C. बाकी you can form the mandatory pairs. You work on the mandatory pairs and elimination. Mandatory pairs and elimination. We'll discuss that in detail later on, जब हम एक ही सेगमेंट यही लेके आए हैं, क्योंकि ये सेंटेंसेस का जो ऑर्डरिंग है दैट इज लिटिल ट्रिकियर एंड लिटिल डिफिकल्ट, राइट, ऑन द डिफिकल्ट साइड। सो इसलिए हम इसको अलग से लेके आएंगे और हम दोनों पॉइंट्स पे बात कर रहे होंगे डिटेल में, बट अभी के लिए द आंसर इज सी। नाउ लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन। 44, आई थिंक टाइप प्रॉपरली। सो 44 पेंटोलॉजी हो गया, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेक। शायद ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स ने सबने मार्क किया सी। हाँ सी, यस। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन, राइट। 44। Hmm. So hormones, I think, typed properly. Yes, the two hormones they help insulin on the other the role. Yes. Now let's read it. So hormones have several functions in the body. The two hormones together regulate the glucose level in the body. There might be some mistake, I think, some level in the body. It has to be in here. It's a typing mistake, so ignore that. That's the reason I'm keeping the paper here with me. Now, so now let's work on this 44. एलिमिनेशन की बात करें तो पी आर एस क्यू सारे ऑप्शन है हमारे पास, तो यहां से एलिमिनेशन हम नहीं कर सकते। सो वर्क ऑन दी मैंडेटरी पेयर्स, सो विच वर्क्स विद दी एस वन। एस वन के साथ कौन सा काम कर रहा है, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दैट। एस वन हॉर्मोन्स हैव द सेवरल फंक्शंस इन द बॉडी। दे हेल्प टू मेंटेन द बैलेंस दी दिस डे biological activities in the body. Insulin is related to, see, hormones have the hormones के बारे में बात करें अगर हम, on the other hand this cannot be the mandatory pair with S1, तो S1 के साथ हम mandatory pair ढूंढ रहे हैं, right? So I'll not go in much detail, लेकिन इतना हमें समझ में आ रहा है, they gives a clue कि with S1 P will go as a mandatory pair. So S1 के साथ अगर हम P की बात कर लें तो immediately we come to the answer. वन मैंडेटरी पेयर ढूंढते ही S1 के साथ P जा रहा है और हमारा आंसर यहीं पे मिल गया, राइट, राइट। So most of the students might have marked A, so A is your answer here. इसीलिए मैं बार बार बोलता हूं दो ही चीज करना है तुम्हें, मैंडेटरी पेयर्स एंड एलिमिनेशन। दो चीज से ऑर्डरिंग ऑफ सेंटेंसेस you'll be able to nail it seriously once you get the, कुछ होते हैं ट्रिकी, I'm not denying that. There are some which are more tricky. If you club this mandatory pair thing with options and work on the elimination, most of the time अगर कुछ trickier है you can leave that and go ahead. That is trickier for everybody, but otherwise if you practice this only one single method, इवन लॉजिकल फ्लो वगैरह जो मैं बताता हूं उसमें भी नहीं जा रहे हो तुम डिटेल में, सिर्फ दो चीज पे काम करो, मैंडेटरी पेयर एंड elimination. This will help. Now let's move to the 45. So 45, I think that's also typed well, कुछ typing mistakes हैं इसलिए keep searching. All living beings, that's the thing. So आगे देखते हैं. So all living things affect the living and non-living things around them. This interdependability needs to be understood when we humans consume much more than required and abuse nature. आ जाओ देखते हैं हम, यहाँ पे हमने देखा ऑप्शंस फटाफट एलिमिनेशन पे काम करने के लिए आर पी क्यू एस, यहाँ से फर्स्ट में तो कोई ऑप्शन नहीं मिल रहा, फर्स्ट मैंडेटरी पेयर हमें फॉर्म करना पड़ेगा। लेट्स वर्क ऑन दैट कि एस वन के साथ विच वन फॉर्म्स दी मैंडेटरी पेयर, सो वर्क ऑन दैट 45। आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ यू मस्ट हैव अटेम्प्टेड दिस। सो सी, इसके साथ all living things affect the living and non-living things around them. Let's work on this, the mandatory pair. This can also affect this can also affect this. For example, makes burrows and warm casts. This, right? Non-living things and living things together. See, तो इसका इसके साथ तो कोई लिंक नहीं है, इसका भी कोई लिंक नहीं है। See, the mandatory pair, you form the mandatory pair with Q. With Q. See, all living things affect the living and non-living things around them. This can also affect the population of fox. If foxes depends on rabbits for food. No. Right? P is not linked with S1. P is linked more with Q. For example, earthworm makes burrows and worm casts. Worm casts. This can also affect the population of fox, and if foxes depend on the rabbits for food. And rabbits की बात तो यहाँ हो ही रही है, राइट? सो एनीवे, सो अगर हम S1 के साथ लिंक बनाने की बात करें तो S1 is more comfortable with Q. So all living things affect the living and non-living things around them. For example, earthworms make burrows and worm casts, right? This act of earthworms, okay, earthworms gets linked with this one. Then you see Q and R, plants growing in it. That's how it is. C. C is the option. So the answer is C. और ज़्यादा डिटेल में डिस्कशन हम बाद में करेंगे. That's how it is. Next, 46. Anyway, see if it is typed properly. 46. So 45 में हमने C मार्क किया. 46 आ जाओ देखते हैं. So the ecosystem of the water is complex and many environmental factors are intricately linked. The trees slowly transfer rainwater into the subsoil, and this is critical for sustaining water for months after the rains. This was the last, and the S1 was the ecosystem की बात कर रहा है. Water complex and many environmental factors are intricately linked. हमने यहाँ पे देखा QPSR, यहाँ से कोई elimination नहीं, हमें mandatory pair पे काम करना है. किसके साथ? S1 के साथ. So S1 के साथ, which one makes the mandatory pair? That's where you have to work, right? So you work on that. Ecosystem. Thick forests make for excellent catchments. Catchments की बात इसमें first में S1 में नहीं हो रही है. The problems we see are because we have undermined these links over decades. These links. It is complex and many environmental factors are intricately linked. Right? First, rain and snowfall are the only sources of water. और 99%. इसका कोई लिंक नहीं है. 4 months. See, इसके साथ the mandatory pair only, you talk about this link Q. So S1 has the mandatory pair with Q. बाकी और चेक कर लो. So the answer is only, the moment you did that, 46, you got the answer. So the answer is A. Let's go to the next one. 47. I think again it's typed properly. Politics is exciting because the people disagree. Yes. Right. Yeah. Let's go to the now 47. So the politics is exciting because people disagree. It's exciting because people disagree. It is not solitary people who make politics a good society. It is people together which make good politics and society. Anyway, that's the last one. So let's see the first one. Elimination RPQR. RPQR. So anyway, so RPQ. इनमें तीनों में से RPQ. इन्हीं तीनों में से एक है which forms the mandatory pair with S1. S1 के साथ mandatory pair कौन सा form करता है? Let's check that. Politics is exciting because people disagree. For Aristotle, politics is an attempt to create a good society because politics is above all a social activity. Politics is exciting because people disagree. All right. P के बाद Q है, right? They also disagree. People disagree. They also disagree how much matters should be resolved, how collective decisions should be made, who should have a say. They disagree about how they should live. See, the moment you see this, they also, right? They also, they should live. See, mandatory pair मिल गया. S1 के साथ R forms a mandatory pair, and this R के साथ Q forms a mandatory pair. You got it, and you got the answer. RSQ. Just a minute. Who should go what? Who should get what? Just a minute. Should live. They also should what and how should power and other resources be distributed? Should society be based on cooperation or conflict? And so on. Right? This disagree about how they should live. Who should get what? See, this is a continuation. So R is linked with S, and then S is linked with Q. So A is the answer. सी अब यहां पे क्या हुआ, यहां पे मैंडेटरी पेयर तुम्हें चेक भी करना है। एस आर के बाद क्यू कुड हैव बीन द मैंडेटरी पेयर अगर इसका कंटिन्यूएशन ना होता। दे शुड लिव, कॉमा, how they should live, comma, who should get what, how should power and other resources be distributed, should society be based on cooperation or conflict, and so on. They also disagree about how much matters should be resolved and how collective decisions should be made. See, this is how it is continuation. That's the reason S came in between R and Q. So you have to look for that mandatory pairs. This mandatory pairs and logical flow. Obviously, उसको check भी करना है हमें. Mandatory pairs, and then you have to check other pairs, other statements as well, if that is something falls in between. See यहाँ पे you should not hurry कि R के बाद तुरंत Q, because there is an S which comes in between, which is the continuation, of this part. That's the reason it came here. Anyway, so the A is the answer here in this one. Go to the next one. 48. Again, I think typed properly. Regular exercise makes many of the organ system become more efficient. Different activities require different level of fitness. That's the last one. So regular exercise makes many of the organ systems become more efficient. You have the options anyway. Q, R, P, S. It means यहाँ से कुछ नहीं हो सकता. You have to form the mandatory pairs, right? Work on that. So regular exercise के साथ, which one forms the mandatory pair? That's what you have to work on, right? It can improve. P, it also. So it can, it also, right? So that's the thing. Regular exercise makes many of the organ systems become more efficient. It also uses up energy and helps prevent the large amount of fat building up in the body. It can also improve your endurance. It can improve your strength, make your body more flexible and less likely to suffer from sprain. Exercise can increase your fitness in three ways. See, three ways, right? Anyway, so regular exercise makes many of the organ systems becomes more efficient and different activities require different level of fitness. See, three ways की अगर हम बात करें, it can improve your strength, make your body more flexible and less likely to suffer from sprain. Endurance. Anyway, again the same. See, this goes well with Q. It can also improve your, just a minute. Uh, it goes well with R. It also uses up, and then after R, you go for S, and then you go for 3, right? Then you go for this 3, and then you go for Q, and then this is the last one. It can also improve your endurance. See, यहाँ पे it also, इसमें हमें बात काम करना है बहुत ज़्यादा to form the mandatory pairs. Anyway, the answer is, 48 has B as the answer. So let's mark the answer B, and that's the correct one. Anyway, if you can work on the mandatory pairs and elimination, that's what you have to. You must be confused between it and it also, and it can, and this 3. These are the actually giving you the clue how you form the mandatory pairs. We'll explain that later on because it's taking time. Coming back to this now, S1. On increasing the temperature of solids, the kinetic energy of the particles increases. The temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid, I think correctly typed, कोई problem तो नहीं होनी चाहिए, right? Check कर लो. Now, liquid atmospheric pressure is called its melting point. Now, Q O P S, यहाँ पे कुछ error है, I think there should be B में Q होना चाहिए. Sorry, it's the error in typing. So you can mark that. I think Q R S P S P R Q. Last one. Yes, that's how it is. All right. यहाँ पे Q होना चाहिए. It's not O. So now Q Q P S. Right. So R is not the हाँ, तो इसे भी इसके साथ मैंडेटरी पेयर्स नहीं बनाएगा. So at increasing temperature, the solids and kinetic energy of the particles increases, and then you have to form the mandatory pairs with this one, right? So S1 forms a mandatory pairs with Q due to the increase in kinetic energy. You get the link, right? So particles. Anyway, so जैसे ही हमने देखा Q, तो obviously we have two Q options, right? Q के साथ हमारे पास दो ऑप्शन है. अब Q के बाद the energy supplied by the heat overcomes the forces of attraction between the particles. Right? Particles are vibrating again. So S1 forms with Q and goes with S. Right? So the answer is Q speed. See, उसके पहले the particles leave their fixed positions and then attraction between the forces overcomes the forces of attraction. So Q goes here and then comes here. So Q R and then S. And that's the B. No, QSR. This will not be in between. Q here. A. A is the answer, right? So go for the A. So 49 is the A is the answer. Again, the same mandatory pairs. Work on the mandatory pairs. अभी हम ज़्यादा काम नहीं कर रहे हैं इस पे. We'll discuss that later on. If you work on the same fixed position, overcomes the attraction, इसी पे काम करोगे, you'll get the mandatory pairs. Now next, coming back to 50. Now I think again check if typed well correctly. Things are often not what they seem, and this happened without options. Let's work on that. Anyway, most of you attempted though correctly. Now, आ जाओ देखते हैं फिलहाल हम इसमें. So things are often not what they seem, not what they seem. This has a mandatory pair with S. As you read this sentence, perhaps sitting in the comfortable chair in your study, you would probably consider yourself at rest, right? So D is the answer here again. Let me give you the answer quickly. D is the answer. SPRQ. That's what the sense is. S goes well with this, but you are really not, because Milky Way galaxies, this probably consider yourself at rest. That's where you get the link. A galaxy of which you are a part is moving through space this kilometer an hour, right? So बाकी सब link बन जाता है अपने आप. You'll see that. Again वही same thing you have to work on. Mandatory pair. मैं बार बार लिख रहा हूँ इसे because that's the only thing which actually helps you. Now coming back to next, fill in the blanks. Yes. आज हम next section की बात करते हैं. Fill in the blanks. This is again. So that was the most challenging section, most trickier one. हमने थोड़ा सा explain किया. बाकी detailed analysis if you want that, कि mandatory pair form करने में अगर किसी को दिक्कत है, खासकर the students who worked with us, they must be knowing how to form the mandatory pairs, how to look for the clue, keywords, clue words कैसे देखना है हमें, and what are the clue words, what is noun pronoun analysis, what is the sense, what is the flow, what is logical analysis. कई सारी बातें हैं जो mandatory pairs form करने में हमारी मदद करते हैं. So students who studied with us, they must be knowing this all, how to work on that. But others even we might have another session जहाँ पे हम ये 10 questions बहुत detail में discuss करेंगे, how you got the mandatory pairs. कुछ हमने beginning में explain करने की कोशिश की है, तो मुझे जहाँ तक लगता है थोड़ा सा you must have got a glimpse of it, and that's the best way anyway to do the ordering sentences are challenging for everybody because para jumbled are asked in every exam. सबके लिए challenging होता है, trickier होता है, but if you work systematically it becomes easy, right? It comes in every exam, right? Starting from your defense UPSC and all, it goes to CAT, JAT, MAT, everywhere, right? Now, so let's do the next section. Now fill in the blanks. Give me a sec. So now fill in the blanks की बात करते हैं. जहां तक बात डायरेक्शन की है, इंस्ट्रक्शन की, you must be knowing each of the following sentences in this section. Each of the following sentences in this section has a blank space and four words, a group of words given after the sentence. Select the most appropriate word of group of words for the blank space and indicate your response in the answer sheet. आज देखते हैं, हमें पता है मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट वर्ड पिक करना है तुम्हें, राइट? सो लेट्स वर्क ऑन दैट. थोड़ी सी टाइपिंग पे ध्यान देते रहना, कहीं पर अगर कुछ मिस्टेक होती है, यू कीप reminding. Now, next, if I blank space a good match, I would have got married, right? That's what the option is here. Yes, it's typed well, I think. Now, so if I good match, I would have got married. Anyway, I would have got an if का pair हम सबको पता है how it works, conditional and all, you know that conditional sentences, right? So you know that all what kind of conditionals we do have. ठीक, तो इसमें हम ज़्यादा डिटेल में अभी नहीं जा रहे. कंडीशनल सेंटेंसेस हमने डिस्कस भी किया था थोड़ा सा व्हेन वी वर डूइंग द मैराथन्स. सो एनीवे, वुड हैव, कुड हैव, शुड हैव, राइट? दीज आर द ऑप्शंस विद. इफ यू गो फॉर द पास्ट कंडीशनल्स, पास्ट के जो कंडीशनल्स होते हैं, पास्ट के जो कॉन्ट्ररी टू फैक्ट सेंटेंसेस होते हैं, हमने बात की थी कॉन्ट्ररी टू फैक्ट सेंटेंसेस या विशेस या इमेजिनेशंस एंड ऑल, दैट्स व्हाट इट इज, राइट? कॉन्ट्ररी टू फैक्ट, विशेस, इमेजिनेशंस, एवरीथिंग, राइट? दैट ऑल कम्स अंडर दिस. So had plus v3 के साथ हम बात कर रहे होते हैं, and the outcome goes with could have, should have and all. Could have, should have, would have, then you go for have, then goes third form. That's how you work, and that's what the construction is here. Would have, could have, right? Would have got married. So if I had found, had plus v3 is had found, immediately you'll pick it. इसमें ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा. fill in the blanks is error anyway. Grammar correct uses point. Have found हो नहीं सकता, found का कोई मतलब नहीं है, have का कोई मतलब नहीं है यहाँ पे, because this is conditional sentences type of construction, which is works like this. You see, right? So it's easy. So A. Next. Next one, I think properly typed. Yes, the lady had been declared as one of the top 10 dash of the community. So the lady had been declared 52, I think, right? Okay, done. Yes. Now, so coming back to this, let's do it. Now, so the lady had been declared as one of the top 10 more powerful members of the community. More powerful members, most powerful members, one of. Remember that. हमने बात पहले भी की थी, right? One of, each of and all. So here it has to be plural. One of the top 10 most powerful members. She's one, so she cannot be more only of the community. It will be most पावरफुल मेंबर्स. यहाँ पे मेंबर्स मेंबर है केवल, ये प्रॉब्लम है. यहाँ पे मोर है, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम. मोर पावरफुल मेंबर अगेन एस, दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. सो द मोस्ट सुटेबल इज बी. दैट्स व्हाट यू कम अप विद, राइट? नेक्स्ट, 52. When I visited the villages nearby the city, I many water bodies intact, right? So in this one you see, you have verb, we have phrasal verbs. You know that phrasal verbs, how that works. That's not a big deal anyway, right? So let's see that. Just give me a sec. Sorry, got a call. Now coming back to this. So when I visited the villages nearby the city, I dash many water bodies intact. So came across, come across. Anyway, phrasal verb हम सबको पता है. Verb के साथ there will be some prepositions, some adverbs and all. They get added and the meaning gets completely changed. और साथ में verb के tenses का forms. That's what is being checked here. So when I visited the villages nearby, I come across cannot be there because anyway you started with the past. So came across. I came many water bodies nahi. I came in many water bodies nahi. I came across many water bodies. So it's pretty easy, right? So let's move to the next one. So that's what it is, right? So now next. 50. Oh, he has lost all his achievement investments, and he is. I think there would be blank space here. Yes, right. Uh, yes, that's the problem. So that's the blank space. So as he is broke, broken, discredited, defunct. That's what it is, right? So देखते हैं आ जाओ ऑप्शंस हैं यहाँ पे. So इसमें भी वही चीज है. As he is broke, that's what it is. Anyway, दो टाइप के हम बात कर चुके हैं पहले भी. टू टाइप्स ऑफ थर्ड फॉर्म पार्टिसिपल के. ड्रिंक ड्रैंक drunken, sunken, sing, sang, sunk, sing, sang, sunken. We talk about that all right. When we use sunken, we use sunk. When we use forgotten, when we use forgot. We discuss that all differences. You know that. Anyway, he is broke. That's the correct answer because he's a bankrupt. That's the sense here and broke इसीलिए use हुआ. Broken पे नहीं जाएंगे. Broken is not required. Now, so अगर किसी को लग रहा हो is sir यहाँ पे third form. So broken वाला why not that suitable? Because if you know this class, जानते हो sunken और sunk में क्या difference है? Forgotten और forgot में क्या difference है? You may be able to differentiate this. That's what the difference is here, right? So that's the correct answer. Now let's move to the next one. So whether he could have get any certificate for the course, right? So he said whether he could get any certificate. He told whether he could get. He thought of. He asked. Again, whether or if जो हम देखते हैं तो हमें पता है कि how we talk about the direct indirect, right? We discussed that. Questions. When it comes to questions, we talk about asked. So the answer is D. यहाँ पे asked होना चाहिए. Let's move to the next one. I यहाँ पे बीच में dot होना चाहिए था. Next. So I dot a blank space. Farewell to all my course mates last year. सी बिड के बारे में हम बहुत बात करते हैं. बिड के दो सेंस होते हैं, दो मीनिंग होती है. वन इज एक्चुअली कोट अ प्राइस, जिसको हम हिंदी में बोली लगाना बोलते हैं, राइट? यू कोट सम प्राइस. एंड द अदर वन इज ऑब्वियसली यू विशिंग, you wish somebody, you say bid a farewell, bid no means goodbye and all. goodbye वाला सेंस भी होता है. So that's what it is, right? There's the another sense. तो यहाँ पे obviously हमें फेयरवेल वगैरह देख के समझ में आ रहा है कि इस वाले सेंस में यूज हुआ है. अच्छा, दोनों में इसके जो थ्री फॉर्म्स हैं that is different. So bid, if you quote a price in that sense, if you use, then obviously it will have three forms, that is bid, and if you go for the other one, that would be bade. और ये हम कई जगहों पे करते हैं, you know that, right? बिड हम वहां भी करते हैं जहां हम थोड़ा सा इन्फिनेटिव वगैरह की बात कर रहे होते हैं. So bid, bade, bidden. So here I bade farewell to all my course mates last year. So you got this answer. So the answer is B. Fill in the blanks again, right? So a little bit related to verb. Next. Very few, I think यहाँ पे there's some typing mistakes maybe. Let's check. Okay. Yes. No. Mm, I think there's some problem here. नहीं ठीक है, right? So very few of the texts from very early Vedic period are uh, extant now, exist. Exit नहीं होना चाहिए, options क्या होना चाहिए? I'm not able to. Exit, हाँ exit, exempt, यही है options. ठीक. नहीं, redundant नहीं, redundant होना चाहिए यहाँ पे. See, this option is actually wrongly typed. Redundant. Anyway, so very few of the texts from very early Vedic period are extant now, exit now, exempt now, and redundant now. Redundant anyway, unnecessary, not required. Exempt हमें पता है, which is exempted, which is actually excluded from something, from some kind of tax, some kind of levies and all. Exit तुम्हें पता ही, exit means you come out of something. Extant is the word here. It's not extinct, it's extant, right? जिसका मतलब ये होता है very 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 old, right? which is very very old but still found, still available, still anyway existing. So that's what the sense is, meaning के according. So that's what you बात कर रहे हैं वैदिक period के text की, right? Books की, text की, that's what they're talking about. So the answer is here A, when you do the contextual analysis, right? Now next, a speech is a, again यहाँ पे थोड़ा टाइपिंग mistake है, so you actually bear with us. So speech is a dot address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade, inspire, or inform. So what kind of address? Formal address, informal address, humorous address, political address. See, speech is not always political. It's not always humorous. It's not all. See, it's a formal address, right? That's most suitable in this context. So A, that's the answer. You go for formal, right? If you check. Next, all that dot is not gold. Anyway, it's a very old saying, very old proverbs. You know that, right? You must have come across many times. So all that glitters is not gold. This one, right? It's pretty easy. Next, having been in politics for about 40 years, the party now treats him like, I think like के बाद है हमारा blank space. It's not typed properly. यहीं पे होना चाहिए. Anyway, yes, type के बाद है. Having been in the politics for party now treats him like a yes, ठीक है. Let's see. Now this is again kind of a group of words, how they are colloquial uses. Has been, have not, सब words देखा होगा actually. Has been का मतलब ये है somebody who has been a big shot earlier, but he's not now that big shot. He's not now counted in that league. जो कि पहले he was something, but now he's not in that league. That kind of thing. That's what the has been means here. तो इस तरह से noun वाले sense में use होता है. So having been in politics for about 40 years, the party now treats him like a has been, like a have been, क्योंकि him हम singular की बात कर रहे हैं तो have been हो नहीं सकता, had been की कोई मतलब नहीं है, has been this is the best suited here, would have का कोई मतलब नहीं है. So this is the answer if you know about the word. Have nots वगैरह की तरह भी have been भी it used as a noun in this sense. Someone who used to be a big shot in the big league, but now he no longer in that league, he's no longer a big shot. That's how it's considered to be one of them. Now, going back to synonyms. So let's talk about synonyms now. Uh, Give me a sec. Start marking, start checking. Yes. Now let's do the synonyms. I'm pretty sure you must have found it is moderate. Now, so the very first one, you read the instructions. Each item in this section consists of the sentence with an underlined word and followed by four words, group of words, and select the option that are nearest in meaning, most nearly similar to the underlined word, and mark your response in the answer sheet. So nearest in meaning again synonym की बात कर रहे हो, right? See, आजा देखते हैं. Emboldened by its success, the leader now plan to go ahead with the plan and implementation. Plan and implementation कुछ है ऐसे ही थोड़ा बहुत might be wrongly typed. You can keep reminding us. Now anyway, with the plan implementation, शायद plan के बाद and नहीं होना चाहिए. The plan implementation. Anyway, now the options आजा देखते हैं. Encouraged, disgruntled, succeeded, failed. Right, emboldened का मतलब again obviously with full of courage, now full of new energy. That's what it is, उत्साहित. So हम देखते हैं disgruntled, someone who's not happy. Succeeded हमें पता है क्या मतलब है. Failed means we know that, right? They have no relations with this. Encouraged is most nearly similar. So the answer is A. That's the option. Now So I think most of you must have marked the same. Now let's move to the next one. 62. So it is encouraging to see India's indigenous cinema is going places, right? So you can keep checking if there's some wrongly typed things and all. So indigenous ka matlab, that native something, something of the that belongs to that place. That's indigenous. So homogeneous, classical, homegrown, non-native language. Synonyms हमें करना है. Homogeneous means similarity, उसकी बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं हम, which is similar everywhere. Classical means very olden, which is coming now, which is homegrown. This is the native. It's a synonymous word. Non-native again opposite हो गया. So the C is the synonymous one here. So answer is C if you go for the synonyms. Next. Anyway, see the next word. I think that's properly typed, right? So the ability to imagine and conceive the common good is inconsistent with what is known as the pleonexia is a major struggle for a good democracy to realize. See, this is a new word, I think, which you come across. So these kind of questions, if you're not able to do, you might leave it. Don't. If you're able to do the elimination, you can go ahead with this. वैसे इसका मतलब होता है extreme greed, extremely greedy for something who is not satiable ever, right? That's what it is. इसके और भी sense होते हैं, avarice and all. There are many words on this. So greed to grab everything for oneself, greed to accumulate more and more wealth, and dislike for others, over ambitions. So anyway, so more and more was never satiable, right? So that's the sense here. So the answer is B. So let's move to the next. 64. So he tried to avoid saying something that would implicate him further. Now, so the next one you can check. Right? Yes. So that will implicate him further. Anyway, implicate is used in the legal sense. बाकी सब typed up properly, I think. सारे options. Reward, incriminate, encourage, and incite. Yes. Now, incriminate is similar to implicate. If he judges implicate somebody in some crime, he's got implicated. Even the police officers, it means he has been brought. He has been held responsible for that thing. That's implicate. If you implicate somebody, if someone got implicated. So encourage है तो कोई मतलब नहीं, reward का कोई मतलब नहीं, incite का कोई meaning नहीं है, इससे related. Reward we know what is in reward, encourage we know. So if you encourage someone, you actually प्रोत्साहन देना and all. Incite हमें पता है. Again, incite implicates से कोई मतलब नहीं है, incriminate. So that's the synonymous word. Anyway, so answer is B. Let's move to the next. 65. The statutory corporate tax, which forms the major income of the government, has not changed this year. Legislature, unlawful, government, legal. सारे options मुझे जहाँ तक लगता है the same. Yes, almost. I think there is no problem in that. Yes, it's proper, right? Yes. Now, fine. So statutory means something which is linked to statute. Statute means some law. Some law. It means something which is legal. It's a statutory word. Statutory bodies, statutory and all, legal bodies, statutory decision which was taken by the legislature and all. So the statutory corporate tax, which forms the legal corporate tax, that's what it is, which is governed by a statute, a law, an act, right? Law and act and all, that's all we call statute. It's a legal word. So legislature, unlawful, government, legal. So finally अगर हम synonymous word की बात करें, legislature तो वो है who all the legislatures they are elected and then they make the law. Unlawful हमें पता है क्या मतलब है. Government, we know what is government. So legal is the synonymous word. So the answer is D. Okay, that's the thing. Now next 65. Move to the 65, and that is he has been part of the all dissident activities. See, dissident, right? Dissident who is not happy. Check कर लो फिलहाल तो सारे words same. Rebellious, supportive, conformist, legal, right? Anyway, so dissident, someone who's not happy with some decision, right? Dissident activities. So somebody dissident, not happy, and he's taking some rebellious attitude. That's the rebellious is the synonymous word. Supportive तो इसका opposite हो जाएगा. तो उसका कोई कंफॉर्मिस्ट भी इसी का ऑपोजिट हो जाएगा. कंफॉर्म मींस यू कंफॉर्म विद समथिंग or some decision or something. It means you go on and follow it. Legal again, so it has no relation with this. Rebellious, that's the synonymous word. So the answer is A, right? uh, Anyway, advocacy is one major component of any new program, right? So the options, it's typed properly, I hope. It's 67. Hmm. Yes, I think so. Now, coming back to here. Now, so advocacy is one major component in any new program. So advocacy के synonymous word हमें करना, opposition होगा नहीं, critique है नहीं, liking है नहीं, promotion. That's with advocacy. Advocacy means speak for that, right? Advocate, advocacy. You speak for that means you promote it. That's the answer here. So answer is A for this one. Now next, people avoided him for his high-mindedness. Now, anyway, so this is also, I think, yes, it's properly typed. Toughness, strong principles, yes, anger and whims. Anyway, so high-mindedness. High-mindedness का मतलब actually it is used for the high moral grounds. So toughness, strong principles, anger and whims. Stronger moral grounds. That's what the high-mindedness is. So if you relate this in a synonymous sense, so toughness तो हुआ नहीं, strong principles. Anger भी नहीं हुआ, whims भी नहीं हुआ. Whims, you act without thinking. That's whims. तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं हुआ. So the answer is B, right? Most suitable synonymous word. Coming back to next one now. There is a tendency to treat social changes as mere development in terms of accumulation of wealth, right? So typed correctly, you can check during the, yes, tendency. ठीक है. So tendency का मतलब है झुकाव के लिए यूज करते हो. You have some inclination towards that, towards doing something, then you have that tendency. So there is a tendency means you're inclined towards something, to do something. Right. So treat social changes as mere development in terms of accumulation of wealth. Options जो है हमारे पास synonymous word choose करने के लिए वो है position, predisposition, thinking, idea. So obviously predisposition का similar sense होता है, you incline towards doing something, right? So position का तो कोई मतलब नहीं है synonymous word. Thinking भी नहीं हुआ. There is a thinking, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Idea, tendency is like inclination towards doing something. A predisposition has the similar sense. So you actually most likely to behave in the same sense. This also has the same sense. Most likely to behave in that sense. That's how you go. So that's the synonymous word. So the answer is B. Let's move to the next. During the ancient period, poets were patronized through various institutions. Patronized मतलब संरक्षित इस वाले sense में use होता है. You know that. So through various institutions. अब बाकी options सारे typed हैं मुझे लगता है properly. You can check that. Ancient times, supported, respected, opposed, and scolded. Yes. Now check it. So anyway, patronized जैसा मैंने बताया, which was got some kind of संरक्षण and all. That's patronized. So respected का कोई मतलब नहीं, opposed इसका तो फिलहाल opposite हो गया, scolded कोई मतलब नहीं है. This is also not. This is the best suited synonymous word. So the answer is A. Now next, I think that's antonyms. So now we'll do the antonyms. Right? Give us a sec. So now antonyms. Let's read the instruction. Each items in this section consist of the sentence with an underlined words followed by four words and group of words. Select the options opposite in meaning, right, to the underlined word and mark your response in the answer sheet accordingly. Archaic. Archaic is the same word which we even discussed in the marathon. हमने मैराथन में भी ये वर्ड डिस्कस किया था. एंटीडिलुवियम वगैरह जब मैं बता रहा था तो आर्काइक भी डिस्कस किया था. सो आर्काइक का मतलब विच इज वेरी ओल्ड, राइट. सो वही है, वहां पे हमने सारे वर्ड्स डिस्कस किए थे. इसके सिनोनिमस यहाँ पे हमने थीम के थ्रू डिस्कस किया था, इफ यू रिमेंबर, राइट. तो थीम के थ्रू हमने बात की थी कि थीम जो है, थीम लिंकिंग की हमने बात की थी काफी शीट्स में. अगर इफ यू गो बैक एंड चेक, हमने जो अभी मैराथन किया था उसमें भी हमने बताया था कि एंटोनिम्स और सिनोनिम्स करने का ये बेस्ट तरीका है थीम लिंकिंग। तो वहाँ हमने कई सारे वर्ड बताए थे, आर्केक का एग्जाम्पल लेके, जो हमने रिसीड वगैरह का एग्जाम्पल लिया था, बेट का एग्जाम्पल लिया था, उसी समय हमने आर्केक के बारे में बात की थी, तो वो मैनी राइट। तो आर्केक से तुम फेमिलियर हो गए। तो इसका ऑपोजिट ढूंढना हमें, एंटीक्वेटेड तो फिलहाल इसका सिनोनिमस हो गया, आउटमोडेड भी वही हो गया, बियॉन्ड द टाइम्स भी वही हो गया, मॉडर्न इज दी एंटोनिम्स। सी, एंटोनिम ढूंढना है हमें, so the answer is D, right? So if you do with the help of theme linking, it actually helps in antonyms and synonyms. और ये केवल एंटोनिम सिनोनिम में ही हेल्प नहीं करता, बल्कि हमारी जो सच में वोकैब का जो पूरा वो है हमारे पास खजाना, दैट कीप्स इंक्रीजिंग एंड ट्रेमेंडसली। और वो वर्ड यूज में भी आने लग जाते हैं, क्योंकि थीम लिंकिंग के दरमियान हम उनके डिफरेंस की बात करते हैं, उनके यूसेज की बात करते हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं। दैट्स द रीजन दिस इज द बेस्ट मेथड फॉर लर्निंग द synonyms and antonyms. That's the best way to do it. आज जो आगे बात करते हैं, ये हमने डिस्कस किया था, यू मस्ट हैव सीन दैट। नेक्स्ट, सो देख लो भाई, अगला इज टाइप्ड प्रॉपरली, पुलिस हैड टू रिजॉर्ट, ठीक है राइट, यस, टू टीयर द गैस टू डिफ्यूज टेंशंस अमंग द क्राउड्स, कंसंट्रेट। सो डिफ्यूज का मतलब ये होता है, स्प्रेड, रिड्यूस, समथिंग लाइक दैट, दैट्स व्हाट द थिंग इज, डिफ्यूज टेंशन अमंग द क्राउड। सो इफ यू, ऑप्शंस भी सारे वही हैं, properly typed, concentrated, concentrate, scatter, disperse, stew, yes. So इसका फिलहाल हमें ऑपोजिट चाहिए डिफ्यूज का, राइट। सो स्कैटर तो इसका सिनोनिमस हो गया, डिस्पर्स भी इसका सिनोनिमस हो गया। दिस स्ट्रू का मतलब जहां तक है, स्ट्रू इज एक्चुअली नॉट यूज इन दिस सेंस, yes, that's the answer is A, right? Next, unrest in some pockets, and this is again I think properly typed, diffuse, राइट। सो दैट्स हाउ इट इज। हाँ, जो देखते हैं, इसमें हमने सारे मार्क कर ही लिया, ओके ऑलराइट। स्टू हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि इसका भी मतलब डिस्पर्स से ही होता है, सो दैट्स आल्सो सिनोनिमस वर्ड, कैन नॉट बी दैट, सो दैट्स द आंसर। नेक्स्ट, अनरेस्ट इन सम पॉकेट्स, अनरेस्ट इन सम पॉकेट्स, ऑप्शन सारे वही है, काम, अप्रीहेंशन, unease and turbulence. Now, so unrest in some pockets made the city dwellers confine themselves at home. Option देख लो फिलहाल, सारे सेम राइट। turbulence is similar to unrest, अन केस है, अनईज है, सी देखो यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा गलत टाइप्ड है, इट हैज टू बी अनईज, राइट, टाइपिंग गलत हुई है थोड़ी सी। अप्रीहेंशन, हाँ बाकी सब ठीक है। अप्रीहेंशन इज अगेन फियर एंड ऑल, सो वो भी उससे सिमिलर है, उसका ऑपोजिट नहीं है। काम इज ऑपोजिट, अगर हम ऑपोजिट की बात करें तो काम इज, आंसर इज डी। नाउ नेक्स्ट, peace and tranquility are instruments which would boost the development of the society. Options check कर लो, कहीं कोई wrong typing तो नहीं है। Peace and tranquility, yes. So uproar, calm, serenity and sound. Anyway, आ जाओ देखते हैं। So peace and tranquility, peace, tranquility anyway शांति की बात कर रहे हैं, काम और serenity भी वही बात करते हैं, peace की ही, राइट। तो ये तो सिनोनिमस हो गए, बल्कि कोई मतलब नहीं, साउंड का कोई मतलब नहीं, अप्रूव, दैट्स द आंसर। सो वेरी इजी। नेक्स्ट, बारिंग अ डिसीजन, ये हमें जहां तक लगता है दिस आल्सो कुड बी द सेम। बारिंग अ डिसीजन ऑफ सच डिस्प्यूट, ऑप्शन सारे वही हैं, एक्सेप्टिंग, विदाउट, इंक्लूडिंग, एक्सक्लूडिंग, so yes, properly typed. So barring a decision, such disputes, other matters relating to the election of the president of president of vice president, president of vice president, प्रेसिडेंट, और यहाँ पे थोड़ी सी गलत टाइपिंग हुई है, और वाइस प्रेसिडेंट मे बी रेगुलेटेड बाय लॉ मेड बाय पार्लियामेंट, राइट। सो बारिंग का मतलब ये होता है एक्सेप्टिंग, एक्सेप्ट मींस कीपिंग दैट समथिंग असाइड, दैट्स व्हाट इज। सो बारिंग उस सेंस में, सी इसका ऑपोजिट अगर हमें ढूंढना है, इंक्लूडिंग, क्योंकि एक्सेप्टिंग भी सिमिलर हो गया, विदाउट भी सिमिलर हो गया, एक्सक्लूडिंग भी सिमिलर हो गया, सो इंक्लूडिंग। सो द आंसर इज सी। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन। His speech was full of emotions and it was an extempore. Extempore, extempore, बहुत सब कुछ बोलते हैं अलग अलग। Anyway, आ जाओ the next one. Let's check the options if they are correct. Prepared, ready-made, unrehearsed, ad-lib. Ad lib two have the similar sense anyway. Without preparation, unrehearsed. Again, the same without preparation. Sub similar hai. Ready-made. Again, prepared. This is the opposite, right? So most opposite. अगर हम बात करें, so that's A. Prepared. Example, without preparation is prepared. So that's the opposite. Next, the teacher asked her students to understand the ensuing problem, following problem, coming problem, ensuing problem, ongoing problem, and address them suitably, right? So ensuing को बाकी options सारे मुझे जहां तक लगता है must be correctly typed. Let's check again. Ensuing problem, this option is subsequent, consequent, retrospective, and ensuing, right? Anyway, see, subsequent, consequent, retrospective. ना तो retrospective की कोई बात है, you go back and check. ना तो consequent की कोई बात है, subsequent. Coming, ongoing, that's what the sense is ensuing का. Ensuite का मतलब something in a room with bathroom and all attached and everything, that's a suite and all. Suite. तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं हुआ. So this is the most nearly, right? That's the thing. ठीक? No, 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 no. Opposite mark करना है, right? Opposite. So obviously retrospective. That's the answer. ये तो subsequent तो वही हो गया. Consequent, subsequent, which is coming, which is going on, ongoing, right? So the answer is C, because you have to mark the opposite. Sorry. Now, next. All the allegations against the actor were expunged by the committee of inquiry. Expunged. See, right? Very good word. You must be familiar with this. Options check कर लो पहले तो सही से typed है कि नहीं. Got rid of, part of, accepted, rejected. Right? That's the thing. So let's check it. Right? So expunged का मतलब either to delete or to reject. That's what the expunged means. To delete, denied, rejected, ये सब इसके सेंस होते हैं, राइट? अलग अलग सेंस में. एक्सपंज्ड. So इसका ऑपोजिट हमें सेलेक्ट करना है. So obviously got rid of, part of, accepted, rejected. So accepted is the opposite इसका. C, right? So the answer is C. That's the opposite of expunged. Next. अगला है हमारे पास, his relatives dissuaded him from giving up the job. ऑप्शन चेक लेते हैं सही टाइप्ड है कि नहीं. Dissuaded में ऑप्शंस हैं persuaded, discouraged, advised against and debtor. तो मुझे पता है dissuade करना, to to plead someone, to convince someone, to stop something, persuade someone, that's all this to anyway. So dissuade, stop somebody, persuade, to convince someone, that's what it is. Dissuade negative, persuade positive, right? So dissuade कर रहे हो तो discourage कर रहे हो, advise against कर रहे हो, deter कर रहे हो, you stopping that person from doing something, dissuading that person from doing something, right? Discouraging some person, deterring that person from doing something. So finally जो हमारा opposite छूटता है वो है persuaded. So the answer is A. That's the antonymous. Now next. So the next one is, he is one of the confidants of the leader and can influence the decision of the government. Now confident, confidants पता है तुम्हें, accessories, confidants, सहयोगी उस सेंस में, right? So options सारे हमें लगता है opponents, intimate, close friend and colleagues सारा देख लिया. इसमें ज्यादातर वर्ड्स तो synonymous ही हैं. तो हमें जो इसका confident means सहयोगी, तो opponent means विरोधी. That's what the goes. So the answer is A. That's how it goes. अब close friend है someone, colleague है someone, तो synonyms हो गए, right? Intimate again, right? Intimacy, intimacy with somebody, so that's not, has no relation with this. So अगर हम antonymous relation की बात करें तो opponent has the antonymous relation. Confidants, opponents. Now let's move to the next. Parts of speech, right? Now we'll do the parts of speech. Give me a sec. Keep doing, keep answering. See, so now let's discuss this. Let's read the instruction. Each of the following sentences has a word or phrase underlined. Read the sentences. Read the sentences carefully and find which part of the speech of the underlined word is parts of speech. That's what you have to mark and indicate your response on the answer sheet accordingly. So under the banyan tree, anyway, it's a noun. So under, right, is used as a preposition while under the banyan tree. हम सबको पता है ये बात. So the answer is C. We have studied that anyway, right? So let's move to the 82 next, right? Now, so so the wonderful statue of the leader welcomes all the people to the city. Welcomes. That's the verb, right? So this complete part is subject. And we all are familiar with the subject phrases, noun phrases and all. But यहाँ पे बात सिर्फ statue की हो रही है, तो obviously it's a noun. It cannot be an object. It cannot be an adjective. Noun phrase तो अगर पूरे की बात करते, then you could have gone with noun phrase. It's noun. So the answer is D. 82 D. Next. This is his pen. His what is his? What is her? What is my? What is your? Right? Anything? Yes, this is all possessive adjectives. Pronouns कौन से होते हैं हम सबको पता है. इनके साथ noun यूज होता है and they are adjectives. अगर ये हम बात करें possessive pronouns की, so you all know कब तो सेम होते हैं. his तो सेम होता है, hers हो जाता है, mine हो जाता है, and all. That's all pronouns. So possessive pronoun का तो कोई मतलब यहाँ है नहीं. his is coming with a noun. We all know that, right? So adverbs का कोई मतलब नहीं, verb का कोई मतलब नहीं. It's a possessive adjective. So pretty easy, right? Next. So when people found that the jewels was in records of Rahim, they gave it to him. They gave it to him. Now 84, right? So आजा देखते हैं. So it की बात कर रहे हैं, gave verb है. So verb के बाद it will be what did they give? What did they give? What did they give? You get the answer, right? Anyway, it's object. So, और ऊपर से it हमें पता है कि pronoun होता है, बाकी और कहीं पे हमें जाने की जरूरत है नहीं. Nominative is subjective, so let's not waste much time. We are familiar with this, right? कि nominative is subjective and subjective यहाँ use नहीं है उसका. It's objective use of a pronoun it, right, as an object. Noun और adverb का कोई मतलब यहाँ है नहीं. Now let's move to the next one. 85. It is 11 o'clock now and all of us should retire to bed. So 85. Let's talk about that. So it is 11 o'clock. It के nature के बारे में हम सबको पता है. What is personal pronoun? What is impersonal pronoun? We know that, right? And what is impersonal pronoun? So when it is used not for a person, I think, so in that case it becomes an impersonal pronoun, right? We all know that. So it is 11 o'clock, so it is used here in impersonal sense. So obviously है pronoun ही, personal pronoun, relative है नहीं, verb है नहीं, personal impersonal. If you're confused, it's not being used as a person. It has to be C. So answer C, impersonal pronoun. Next. That's how it is, right? So let's move to the next one. uh, the flower is very beautiful, right? So हम सबको पता है beautiful is an adjective. We keep studying all those beautiful, wonderful, anyful, that's all adjective, right? An adjective को qualify करने वाला word is an adverb. We all know that. So adjective का तो कोई बात नहीं है, preposition ये हो नहीं सकता, conjunction ये है नहीं. So you left with adverb. So the answer is B, right? So let's move to the next one, right? 87. This boy is stronger than Ramesh. Again हम बात यहाँ this की कर रहे हैं. This, that, these, those, and all that. You have studied that all. These are the demonstrative either pronoun or demonstrative adjectives. Adjectives कब? जब इनके साथ this plus noun, then it is an adjective. So when they are used alone, if they are used alone, then pronoun, right? When it comes with an adjective, with a noun, sorry, then it's an adjective. Take. So here it is being used with a noun. We all know that, right? So anyways, it's an adjective. So that's the option. So the answer is B. We all know that. So not, let's not waste much time here. That's what it is. Next, I hurt myself. Self again. You know how the self could be used. All myself, yourself, जितने भी हैं ये सब. Herself, right? How we use them. Either reflect, reflexive pronoun or emphatic ones when they're used for emphasis purposes. Emphatic pronouns, right? So anyway, so hurt myself, it's a pronoun. We all know that, right? It's not a noun here, not a demonstrative preposition, not an adjective, nothing. So pretty easy again. So the answer is B, 88. Let's move to the next one. 89. The ants fought the wasps. Fought the wasps. So whom did they whom does did fought, right? Whom did they fought, right? Whom did they fought? The wasps, right? So we have the transitive, intransitive, demonstrative, and adjective. You know that all, right? So transitive because it has the object. So this is an object. We know what is transitive means. When a verb, its effect is not limited to the subject only, it also affects the object. और हमें पता है how to find it out, right? What and whom questions and all. We have been doing that since childhood. बचपन से करते आ रहे हैं हम ये difference और transitive verb, right? So next, ये भी आसान है हमारा. So the answer is B, right? 89B. Next, move to the next one. 90. I can hardly believe it. I can hardly believe it. It's an adverb here. यहाँ पे sorry adverb की तरह यूज हुआ है, right? Hardly believe it. So adverb, this is an option. यहाँ adjective, preposition, adverb, verb जैसा कुछ नहीं है. So the answer is here C, 90. So we're done with, I think. Now close composition. 20 questions in this exam, right? Unexpectedly there is some change that you got 20 questions of close composition, a close test, right? That's what it is. So we'll start doing this now. Give me a sec. Yes. So let's read the instruction. Each of the following sentences in this section has a blank space with four words, a group of words given. Select whichever word a group of words consider the most appropriate for the blank. Your response on the answer sheet accordingly, right? That's what you have to do. Look for the most appropriate option for the blank space, which is given here. So the difficult thing about blank, the science of habits, is that, right? So that's what the first question is. So this passage, actually the complete paragraph has been taken from a book. You might be knowing The Power of Habit. So if you read, actually it helps always. Coming back to this, the difficult thing about blank, the science of habit is that, anyway, the difficult thing about, see, about is here again a preposition. You know that, right? About study, about studies, about are studying, about preposition के बाद verb वाला form तो हम वैसे भी नहीं use करेंगे, right? So what are we left with? Studying. So the difficult thing about studying the science of habits is that, so this is the option here, studying, verbal noun. You know that, right? Ing form, verbal noun. We're pretty much familiar with this, gerund and everything, right? So that's what you'll use here. So the difficult thing about studying the science of habits is that Most people, when they hear about this field of research, most people, when they hear about this field of research, wanted, wants, want. So anyway, so most people, when they hear about this field of research, again present में बात कर रहे हैं हम, पीछे भी हमने यही देखा. Difficult thing about studying the science of habits is that present. तो wanted और ये सब का तो कोई मतलब नहीं है. Is it? Just most people के लिए यहाँ verb चाहिए. Wanting अकेला आएगा नहीं. It will come with helping verb. Wants और इसमें अगर confuse हो तो most people. यहाँ पे people भी प्लूरल है और मोस्ट भी मेनी के सुपरलेटिव के सेंस में आया है क्योंकि ये प्लूरल के उसके साथ पीपल के साथ यूज हो रहा है. दैट्स काउंटेबल. काउंटेबल के साथ यूज हो रहा है. एज वी ऑल नो पीपल आर काउंटेबल, राइट? सो इन दैट सेंस मोस्ट पीपल के साथ वांट आएगा. वांट्स का तो कोई स्कोप बनता नहीं है. सो यू विल गो फॉर वांट. Want to know the secret formula for quickly changing any habit if scientists have discovered how blank patterns work. CP कैपिटल नहीं होना चाहिए था. How blank patterns work. तो blank में क्या होना चाहिए? How those patterns work, how these patterns work, how this and that is for singular. तो ये दोनों का यहाँ पे आने का तो कोई मतलब है नहीं. सिंगुलर तो इसलिए दोनों नहीं आ पाएंगे. Most people, when they hear about these field of research, this field of research, want to know the secret formula for quickly changing any habit. If scientists have discovered how these patterns work, anyway, nearness, these nearness, those farness, right? So these जो है नजदीक के लिए यूज होता है और those फार के लिए, दूर के लिए. तो उस सेंस में ऑब्वियसली यहां पे यूल गो फॉर दीज. ठीक. तो यहां पे आंसर था डी और यहां पर आंसर है सी. तो मार्क करते रहो इस तरह से अपना. So these patterns work, then it stands to reason that they, let's go further, they blank have also found a recipe for rapid change. They blank have also found, they must have also found, they will have also found, could have also found, might have also found, they must have also found क्योंकि पहले वाले से linked है. How these patterns work, then it stands to reason that they must have also found a recipe for rapid change, right? If only it. See, must have also, will have also found. Will have का कोई मतलब नहीं है क्योंकि there is no question at all. Could have also found, could have also found if there has been some conditional part or something like that. A past ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. Might, a possibility is lesser and all. Here it's even it's reasoning. So must will be more suitable because it's given a cause, right? तो might का तो कोई slight possibility का कोई मतलब यहाँ है नहीं. So finally you reach to the answer A for 94 part. Next, have also found a recipe for rapid change, right? If only it, if हम सबको पता है what if does. देखते रहो कहीं पे अगर गलती हो टाइपिंग में तो you can point out that. I hope pointing अभी तक कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि I got it corrected, जिससे कोई गलती ना हो. If only, yes, आ जाओ देखते हैं फिलहाल तो. Next. Anyway, so if only it are that easy, it were that easy, it was that easy, will be that easy. Anyway, you know that conditional and all, right? So हमें बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. Conditional या हम इसी को subjunctive mood भी कहते हैं. Subjunctive mood. Present subjunctive, past subjunctive. You must have studied past subjunctive mood. तो ये subjunctive में ही आता है जिसमें हम wishes वगैरह और बहुत सारी चीजों की बात करते हैं. Wish, contrary to fact, stuff and all. So if लगा है इसका मतलब it जो है will be used in that sense. So in that sense, obviously it will be were, a plural form of the verb, even with the singular subject. We know that. हमने पढ़ा ये चीजें. Conditional पढ़ा होगा तब भी आइडिया होगा, अगर subjunctive नहीं पढ़ा होगा तब भी, right? You must be knowing that. It's anyway the same thing. It were that easy. So the option here is B. That's the correct one. Now next. So पीछे से लिंक करते हुए चलो. If only it were that easy, it's not blank formulas don't exist. It's not blank formulas don't exist. It's not that, it's not these formulas don't exist. This, that, which. So these, this, यहाँ पे हमें which है that में से कोई एक चाहिए, that is better here. It's not that formulas don't exist, not that formulas don't exist. The problem is that there isn't one formula. Formulas do exist, but there's not one single formula. That's what they're saying. So that. So the answer is C here. It's continuation. Keep saying that anyway, right? So next. See? So it's not that the formulas don't exist, they do exist. But the problem is that there isn't one formula for changing habits, changed habits, having changed habits, changes for. Anyway, we're talking about the changing habits, right? How to change that. So the problem is that there isn't one formula for changing habits. Changed habits nahi. You're talking about the continuation. How will you change that? Right? So changed habits, not something which got changed and now you're analyzing. जब हम पूरा पैराग्राफ जिस तरह से पढ़ रहे हैं, that's going in present and how to change the habits. They're talking about the habits. So having changed habits कोई मतलब नहीं है यहाँ पे, changes ये सब कोई मतलब नहीं है, और changed past की हम बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. So changing habits for changing habits. Now coming back to next one. So here the answer is A. Changing habits. Next, you know that, right? अगर हम बात करेंगे तो preposition anyway, right? So उसको बारे में हमें पता ही है. For के बाद हम जो भी बात कर रहे हैं, that has to be the object. So object में अगर मान लो कहीं verb आ भी गई changing, तो obviously that has to be in a verbal form, right? Then only that will conform with the rules. हम सब पढ़ चुके हैं इन सब चीजों को, तो for changing habits, that's the most appropriate option here. 97 done. Now next 98. There are thousands. पीछे से link करते हुए चलो, then it will make more sense. The problem is that there isn't one formula for changing habits. There are thousands. Individuals and habits are full. Individuals and habits are all giving up different and anyway, typing थोड़ा सा देख लो. I think it's fine. There are thousands of individual habits are all different. So the all with individuals and habits are different, and so the specific of specific of diagnosing and changing the patterns of life differ. Pattern to this giving up is wrong here. It should be somewhere here. It's wrongly typed. Wrongly typed. तो इसको consider ना करें. Wrongly typed here. Okay, that's the reason it doesn't make sense. Different. So all different. So that's the reason the option here, the answer here will be the best one. All different. Because anyway, we need after this adverb. So all different. So the answer is B. It's all different. And so the specific of diagnosing and changing the patterns in our lives differ from person, not persons. Person to people नहीं हो सकता, person to persons नहीं हो सकता, person to personal नहीं हो सकता. You know the person to person. So here again the answer is D, right? So next, and behavior to behavior. Giving up will come here. वहां पे गलती से टाइप हुआ है. So giving up, I think, हाँ, yes. Now, so आगे चलते हैं. Giving up, curving over reacting. Okay, he is giving up from changing person to person. And the next is anyway curving over reacting, where which यहाँ पे कुछ typing में problem है, so you just keep bearing with us, which the different cigarettes is different. Different के साथ anyway from आता है, ये सब हमें पता है, since वगैरह ये सब नहीं होंगे. So different from, तो यहाँ का option तो ये है, कुछ typing में थोड़ी सी problem है. So different, you can see in your papers. So different from. So the answer is here anyway A, right? So from changing how you communicate with your spouse. Spouse आगे भी अगर हम देख लें, as a result this book does not is different from how you prioritize tasks. Anyway, 101 101 C, spouse, which As a result, यहाँ पे obviously the answer is D, which is the answer, right? There's some typing error here, sorry, right? इसमें D is the answer here, A is here. So from different के साथ from ही होता है हमेशा, we all know that. यहाँ पे बीच में ओवर रिएक्टिंग में थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लम है. नेक्स्ट मूव टू दी इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम. नाउ मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन. 101 के बाद 102. एज अ रिजल्ट दिस बुक डज नॉट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम. सी देखें यहाँ पे भी ये एज अ रिजल्ट मुझे जहां तक लगता है ये चीज नीचे होनी चाहिए थी. एज अ रिजल्ट दिस बुक इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम. एज अ रिजल्ट दिस बुक इज डज नॉट. so ये पूरा का पूरा गलत टाइप है यहाँ पे. इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम हाउ यू प्रायोरिटाइज टास्क एट वर्क. व्हाट्स मोर each person's habits are, what's more important कुछ होगा, right, are broken by different cravings, given by different cravings, driven by different cravings. So here you need the driven, right? So the answer is C. That's what you'll mark. Now next move to the next one. कुछ टाइपिंग में प्रॉब्लम है, चीजों को देखते रहो. Now as a result this book does not blank one prescription. So does not contain one prescription. This book does not contained containing. तो यहाँ पे जो कि does not है, we all know that contain होगा, contains नहीं हो सकता. contained और इन सब की तो कोई बात ही नहीं है, because you're talking about in present, right? So this is the answer. So the answer is A here. Contain one prescription. Rather, I hope to deliver something else, right? I hope to deliver something else. A framework for understanding blank habits work. How habits work, what habits work, where, how. So 104, that's how it is. So how habits work. So here has to be how. So the answer is A for the 104. There's some typing बीच बीच में problem है, इसलिए देखते चलना है हमें. Now habits work and a guide to experimenting with how they dash change. So how they might change, how we would change, how we will change, how they must change. इसके पहले तो हमने बात की ली है, राइट? हो गया हमारा. So anyway, how they might change. So anyway, so how they might change, that's the suitable one. लेकिन I was saying कि क्या हमने गलत टाइप क्या हुआ यहाँ पे. So that, so the typist has कुछ mingled up कर दिया यहाँ पे. So you just have to bear with us. But anyway, answer will be might. So how they might change. So guide to experimenting with how they might change. How would they would change, will change, must change. Cause and effect जैसा कुछ नहीं है यहाँ पे. How they might change. So now some habits yield to analysis and influence. Others are blank, complex, and obstinate. Others are quite complex, most complex, better, and more. So you have this options. So others are, see, some and others. Some and others. So there is a comparison, right? You know that. Some and other. So obviously most obstinate and require prolonged study. And for others, change is something something. Anyway, so more is the answer here. So answer is D. क्यों? क्योंकि now there are two parts you comparing. So more complex and obstinate and require prolonged study. And for others, change is a blank that never fully concludes. Change is a blank, change is a process, change is a processing, processed, process. So anyway, processing नहीं हो सकता, anyway, a process. We only need a process, that is a noun. So वहाँ पे हमें और कुछ चाहिए नहीं, ना तो verb की तरह, ना ही इस तरह से. The process that never fully concludes, but that does not blank, it can't occur. That does not mean it can't occur. That does not means. So the means नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि does not लगा है पीछे, हमने देखा. So that does not meant हो नहीं सकता, meaning हो नहीं सकता, does not such. Mean is the answer. So the answer is D. That does not mean it can't occur. Each chapter in this book explains a different aspect of why habits exist and how they function. The framework blank in this section is an attempt to distill. मैं बार बार blank करके आगे क्यों पढ़ता जाता हूँ? मैं बता चुका हूं पहले, हमें लिंक क्रिएट करना होता है हमेशा क्लोज टेस्ट में। हम बात करते हैं क्लोज टेस्ट, जो हमारे साथ स्टूडेंट्स होंगे, जो हमारे साथ पढ़े होंगे, उन्हें मालूम होगा कि हमें किस तरह से तीन बातों का, किसी भी क्लोज टेस्ट में तीन बातों का ध्यान देना होता है। एक कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज, एक ग्रामेटिकल यूसेज, कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज एंड वोकैब की नॉलेज। तीन बातें, कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज, ग्रामेटिकल यूसेज एंड वोकैब की नॉलेज। दैट्स इट। इफ यू नो दीज थ्री थिंग्स, कंटेक्चुअल हमें आगे पढ़ के ही पता चलता है, इसलिए मैं ब्लैंक बोल के बीच में आगे पढ़ता जाता हूं। सो दैट्स हाउ यू डिराइव द कंटेक्चुअल सेंस एंड कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज। ग्रामेटिकल, जो मैं बीच बीच में डज नॉट और ये सब यूज कर रहा हूं, वो ग्रामेटिकल यूसेज हो गया। और वोकैब, ऑब्वियसली हमें थोड़े से वोकैब पता होनी चाहिए, बेसिक समझ, अदरवाइज कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज हम निकाल नहीं पाएंगे। सो दीज आर द थ्री थिंग्स व्हेन इट कम्स टू क्लोज टेस्ट, अ क्लोज कॉम्पोजिशन, राइट। हम तीनों पे काम करते हैं आसानी से। जो स्टूडेंट्स हमारे साथ पढ़े होंगे, दे मस्ट बी नोइंग। दैट्स रीजन आई कीप रीडिंग, ब्लैंक के साथ मैं आगे पढ़ता जाता हूँ, क्योंकि हमें कंटेक्स्ट पकड़ना होता है, कंटेक्चुअल, और साथ में हमें ग्रामेटिकल यूसेज भी दिख जाता है, इफ वी नो ऑब्वियसली करेक्ट यूसेज, अगर हमें करेक्ट यूसेज पता है तो। नाउ सो हमने यही किया अभी यहाँ पे, कांट आकर ईच चैप्टर इन दिस बुक एक्सप्लेन्स अ डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ व्हाई हैबिट्स एग्जिस्ट एंड हाउ दे फंक्शन. The framework blank in this section is an attempt to distill dash dash. So the framework blank in this section, describing in this section, described in this section, will describe. So the framework described, describing in this section का कोई मतलब नहीं है यहाँ पे, which has been described उसकी बात करने वाले हैं। So the framework described in this section, ये पूरा का पूरा एक एडजेक्टिव फ्रेज होता है, पार्टिसिपल फ्रेज कहते हैं उसको, जो भी कह लो, राइट। ये सब पढ़ते हैं हम, जब हम पार्टिसिपल के यूसेज पढ़ते हो, पार्टिसिपल फ्रेज पढ़ते हो, पार्टिसिपल, राइट, कब कंटेक्स्ट, कब सेंटेंसेस को ऐड करने के लिए यूज हो रहा है, कब किसी मीनिंग के लिए यूज हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे उस फ्रेज में आया। तो डिस्क्राइब्ड इन दिस सेक्शन, द फ्रेमवर्क इज एन अटेम्प्ट टू डिस्टिल, बीच में डिस्क्राइब्ड इन दिस सेक्शन क्या है, दैट्स अ फ्रेज, right, participle phrase या adjective phrase, whatever you call it. So described in this section is an attempt, तो आंसर क्या हो गया यहाँ पे, B। आगे बढ़ते हैं, in this section is an attempt to distill in blank very basic way. So distill a very basic way, any very basic way, the very basic way, rather very basic way. Anyway, कौन सा क्वेश्चन है हमारा, 110, कहीं टाइपिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं होनी चाहिए जहां तक मुझे लगता है। Anyway, but good, moving, right now, so see, anyway, so a very basic way, हमें obviously यही बात है, any very basic way, the very basic way, rather very basic, कोई मतलब नहीं है, a very basic way, the tactics that researchers have found for diagnosing and shaping habits within our own lives. That's all, right? So मैंने बताया कि क्लोज कॉम्पोजिशन या क्लोज टेस्ट में हमें तीन बातों का ध्यान रखना है, ग्रामेटिकल यूसेज, वोकैब, फर्स्ट थिंग बेसिक वोकैब होनी चाहिए ठीक ठाक, बेसिक, बहुत हाई फाई नहीं, बेसिक वोकैब, एटलीस्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग थोड़ा मिलता रहे, एंड देन ग्रामेटिकल एंड कंटेक्चुअल यूसेज, और दोनों हम रीड करते समय वी विल बी एबल टू पिक इट। These are three things which you need actually. Now coming back to next one, spelling mistakes. So आज हम इस पे बात करते हैं, so we'll do the spelling mistake, that's very easy anyway, so give me a sec, we'll start this one. Yes, so spelling mistakes. Let's begin with the instruction. In this section, a word is spelled in four different ways. Identify the one which is correct. Identify the one that is correct. Four different ways. Spelled किया गया है चार तरीके से, जो correct है उसे identify करना है and indicate your answer in the answer sheet accordingly. So which one of the following alternatives has the correct spelling, right? So we have the options. देखते रहो बीच में टाइपिंग क्या क्या है, क्योंकि टाइपिंग में कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकता है, so you have to be little attentive. जैसे कि हमने पीछे भी देखा कुछ मिस्टेक्स हैं, so I'm really sorry for that because you know typists might have got in hurry some here and there haphazardly. Anyway, so you just have to be little attentive. Answer हम सही कर रहे हैं तो उसको चेक करते जाओ. That's what it is. Which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Mountainous, मैं पता है mountainous का क्या मतलब होता है. Mountainous means full of mountains. That place is called mountainous. So mountainous की अगर हम spelling की बात करें, So 111, आ जाओ बात करते हैं. So mountainous पहला नहीं हो सकता, mountains से mountainous बना है हमारा, तो mountains हमारे this last one is the correct actually correct spelling, बाकी सब के सब गलत हैं. So D is the correct one, mountainous, full of mountains, you know that, right? So the answer is D. Answer is D. Let's move to the next one. So अगले में हमारे पास क्या है ऑप्शन सेकंड में, which one of the following alternatives has the correct spelling? Etiquette, you know that etiquette, a good behavior, right? A polite behavior, a good behavior, right? Good manners, good etiquettes, that's what it is. A nice behavior, a polite behavior, that's what it is. Etiquette की spelling की अगर हम बात करें 112, let's move to that. Etiquette, right? So double T, yes, huh? This is the answer, right? This is, oh my god, हाँ, that's the answer. बाकी सब में गलत है. You know that, what is the etiquette का मतलब क्या होता है? Good polite behavior, right? That's the answer, right? So the answer is A. बाकी सब में गलत है. Next, which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Curriculum, you know that curriculum क्या है? Syllabus और curriculum, उसका पूरा हिस्से को हम curriculum बोलते हैं. So spelling में मुझे जहां तक लगता है सब correctly typed होगा. Please check which one of the following is curriculum. Curriculum, LUM, yes, LEUM and LUM. तो anyway, तो करिकुलम की बात करें अगर हम, तो आंसर इज डी, दैट्स द करेक्ट आंसर ऑप्शन. बाकी सब गलत है. एएम नहीं होना चाहिए. करिकुलम अगेन सी, इसमें सेम लिखा है, इसमें सिंगल आर होना चाहिए था. देखो टाइपिंग मिस्टेक्स, इसलिए ध्यान देना है, राइट? सो दैट्स द करेक्ट आंसर एनीवे, यू नो दैट. नेक्स्ट, नाउ अगला वाला जो है हमारा, उसमें है which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Magnificent, magnificent, you know, very good, very शानदार एकदम. that's magnificent. magnificent की स्पेलिंग देख लो, सारी टाइप्ड से करेक्टली टाइप्ड है कि नहीं. magnificent, FICNT तो होता नहीं, E होता नहीं, and then ये नहीं होता, तो option is this. So the answer is A, right? Which one of the following is alternatives has the correct spellings? Felicitation, felicitation, you know that, to praise somebody and facilitate somebody in a function and all. तो आंसर ए हो चुका है. फैसिलिटेशन की सारी स्पेलिंग प्लीज चेक, कि कहीं कुछ टाइपिंग मिस्टेक्स हो सकती है, जैसे कि हमने पीछे देखा. सो फेलिसिटेशन रॉन्ग. फेलिसिटेशन सिंगल एल आई सी आर टी, दैट्स हाउ इट इज. फेलिसिटेशन ए नहीं होगा. felicitation again S नहीं होगा. that's how it is, right? So the answer is B. So the answer is B for the correct spelling. So now next, आगे पे मूव करते हैं हम. 116, which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? 12th, 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 anyway, so the option anyway, you know that, 12th. So let's not, बाकी options पे हम ज्यादा जा नहीं रहे हैं. anyway 12th, बाकी सब गलत है. इसमें V के साथ भी बनाया जा सकता था, क्योंकि इसमें खूब बच्चे कंफ्यूज होते हैं. anyway, so the answer is B. which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? ये आ चुका है पहले भी. which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Snobbery, snobbery, anyway, snobbish, snob, somebody who's very arrogant, that's very arrogant behavior, who considers himself only. So that's what it is. Snobbish, arrogance, snobby, snobbish, snob, snobbery, इसी से बन रहे हैं सारे words. So हमारा snob में double B R Y, obviously this is the correct one, बाकी सब बेकार हैं, right? So the answer is A, right? Correct answer. You can mark and move ahead. Next, अगले की बात करते हैं. स्नॉबरी के बाद टाइपिंग देखते रहो. which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Neurosis, again neurosis, you know, a mental illness, right? That's the meaning, mental illness, where you feel very anxious, very fearful and all. That's what the sense is. But anyway, neurosis, the spelling will be, सारे करेक्टली दिए हैं शायद, वहां जब लिखता है SIS तो होगा नहीं ये ए के साथ. न्यूरोसिस, न्यूरोसिस, सी, सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, बाकी सारे गलत हैं. सो आंसर इज सी. which one of the following is alternatives has the correct spelling? Diphtheria, diphtheria, you know that it's kind of a problem in your throat. while swelling and all. That's the problem, that kind of illness. Again, if you don't know somehow, I mean, if you can eliminate, that's fine. Otherwise, you can leave these kind of things which you find new. You must have heard about this anyway. Spelling हम कम ध्यान देते हैं. Diphtheria. So options में हमारे पास सारे options सही टाइप था, ज़्यादा तक लगता है मुझे. So anyway, diphtheria is this one. PHRIA. PH होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे PH नहीं है, यहाँ भी PH नहीं है, और यहाँ पे E नहीं है. So answer is C. Problem in throat, as you all know the meaning. Next, meager. So which one of the following alternatives has the correct spellings? Meager. Meager means a very less amount, very small amount. Inadequate. You know that. Very small, less, right? Something. A meager salary, meager payment, meager something, right? That's what you go. So meager is this one the correct spelling. MEA has to be there. यहाँ पे MEA नहीं है, यहाँ पे E नहीं है, यहाँ पे MEA नहीं है, सब गलत है. So the answer is A. That's the correct one. So that's how it is. Thank you so much. I think you must have got the answers right. And you must have, be expecting at least, जैसा कि beginning मैंने बताया था, be expecting 90 to 100 to be a good attempts with good accuracy. That much could be attempted, if you prepared well for English. Trust me, जैसा कि हमने discussion के दरमियान भी मैं बार बार बताता रहा हूँ. That's possible. It's not, out of the way. So that is all for today. Thank you. हम अलग section पे भी you can request if you want more. We can come up with the separate sections. जैसा मैंने बताया, ordering of the sentences we might do again. तो थोड़ा बहुत एक्सप्लेन हमने बिगिनिंग वाले सारे करे, लास्ट वाले मैंने थोड़ा सा आंसर बता के आई जस्ट लेफ्ट इट. मैंडेटरी पेयरिंग और इन सब चीजों की ज्यादा बात नहीं की मैंने. सो इफ यू वांट वी कैन कम अप अगेन विद दैट एक्सप्लेनेशन सेक्शन वाइज, राइट? थैंक यू सो मच. दैट्स ऑल. Yes, one more thing I would like to let you know that very soon we either I think 16th of November or 17th of November, you'll be informed very soon. You can call at this number. We're coming up with the serious batch, a crash course. There'll be Speedsters batch, right? So we're coming up with that batch, and all the faculties, all the teachers will be, there helping you with that Speedsters batch. You have got, anyway familiar. So wherever you are, we are coming up with another online batch for the serious. That will be for the shorter term, for the 70, 75 days around, right? Till the exam.